welcome to Tales in the Dark. I know many of you enjoy relaxing with these videos, so I recommend turning down the volume until my voice is barely audible. It'll make the experience even more soothing. Before you close your eyes, let me know in the comments where you're listening from. Leave a like and subscribe to the channel. Thank you and enjoy listening. Story 1. In the quiet embrace of a moonlit night, I ventured into the depths of an ancient observatory nestled on the edge of town. Amongst the hushed whispers of dormant telescopes and the faded remnants of celestial maps, my eyes fell upon a striking mural etched into a weathered wall, a mosaic of eyes staring out into the darkness. The star-studded sky outside seemed to meld with a mysterious luminescence that bathed the chamber in an otherworldly glow, while a gentle breeze, redolent of ozone and aged parchment, murmured secrets of a forgotten era, hinting that the very structure itself was sentient, safeguarding enigmatic cosmic truths. The circular chamber exuded a sense of both closeness and boundlessness, its lofty dome ascending towards the heavens like a sanctuary devoted to the night sky. As my footsteps whispered across the time-worn marble floor, a delicate dance of dust particles shimmered in the moon's gentle caress. A silent congregation of antiquated instruments stood vigil, ancient telescopes of polished brass, celestial spheres frozen in time, and intricate orreries, their mechanisms stilled by the passage of years. Tracing my fingertips along the intricately carved eyes, each bearing a distinct expression, some curious, others wise, a few tinged with melancholy, I couldn't shake the feeling that these eyes held a deeper purpose beyond mere decoration. They seemed to track my every move with a knowing awareness, sending a subtle shiver of electricity skittering across my skin. As the night deepened, my gaze was drawn to the grand telescope at the chamber's center, an elegant fusion of brass and iron that spanned the celestial vault like a bridge between worlds. The chill of its eyepiece against my skin hinted at the vast mysteries it held within. Peering through, I expected only darkness, but was met instead by a celestial ballet of shimmering lights forming constellations unknown to any star chart. A soft, ethereal hum permeated the air, a spectral melody that tugged at the strings of my soul. The eyes on the wall seemed to shift in my peripheral vision, though they remained stationary when I turned to face them directly. The hum intensified, resonating with a primal rhythm deep within me, as if echoing the heartbeat of the cosmos itself. Time ebbed and flowed in that enchanted space, minutes stretching languidly like strands of liquid honey, pregnant with unseen possibilities. Seated in a weathered astronomer's chair, I found myself enveloped in a cool embrace, akin to being swathed in silk on a balmy summer eve. Details once overlooked now beckoned, esoteric symbols etched into the telescope's base, pulsing with a vitality that transcended mere mechanics. The brass surface thrummed with a soft radiance that mirrored my own heartbeat, whispering tales of ancient light and unfathomable distances. Placing my hand upon the telescope's barrel, I felt a faint vibration, a cosmic symphony reverberating through time and space. The eyes on the wall began to glow with a gentle luminescence, each pulsating with a unique hue, cobalt blue, shimmering silver, radiant gold, forming an intricate dance of light that hinted at a hidden language, a celestial code waiting to be deciphered. Within a forgotten drawer, I unearthed an aged journal, its pages a tapestry of celestial musings penned in faded ink. The script shifted subtly with each turn of the page, as if penned by a chorus of stargazers spanning generations. Amidst conventional star charts and calculations, I discovered sketches of fantastical constellations and cryptic references to resonance patterns woven into the fabric of the night sky. The observatory itself seemed to breathe, its silent exhalations permeating the chamber with a subtle pulse that resonated deep within my bones. It was as though the very walls exhaled stardust, inhaling the mysteries of the cosmos with each nocturnal breath. The eyes, once mere adornments, now resembled portals, gateways to the infinite, reflections of a vast, unknowable truth. As dawn crept over the horizon, the hum faded into silence, the eye's radiance dimming with the encroaching light. The morning sun filtered through the dome, imbued with a newfound significance, as if the stars themselves had whispered their secrets to its golden rays. Gathering my belongings, I knew it was time to depart, yet I carried with me an indescribable transformation, a sense of having communed with something far greater than myself. On clear nights, I am drawn back to the observatory, seeking solace in the timeless ballet of starlight and shadow. The eyes, steadfast sentinels of the night, welcome me with their eternal gaze, teasing with enigmas just beyond reach. Some mysteries are destined to remain unsolved, suspended in the vast expanse between earth and sky, like unspoken poetry. What remains certain is that the observatory endures, a silent custodian of cosmic secrets. Its watchful eyes a reminder that the universe harbors patterns and purposes beyond our understanding. And as I gaze upward from my window on starlit nights, a whisper of recognition stirs within me, the ancient eyes of the observatory returning my gaze, a silent reassurance that the mysteries of the cosmos are ever present, waiting to be unveiled. Story 2. Late one serene night, I ventured into an aged observatory on the outskirts of town. Amongst the silent telescopes and dusty star charts, a peculiar discovery awaited me, a mural of eyes intricately carved into a weathered wall. The expansive, twinkling sky outside seamlessly blended with an eerie luminescence within, while a gentle breeze, tinged with hints of ozone and aged paper, whispered secrets of the universe as if the very building itself was sentient, safeguarding ancient cosmic mysteries. Upon crossing the threshold of the weathered entrance, time appeared to slow its relentless march. The beam of my flashlight illuminated worn wooden floors, their whispers echoing softly underfoot, their aged grains resembling frozen rivers in the soft glow. The air held a profound stillness, laden with the weight of endless nights spent gazing at the celestial wonders above. Progressing deeper into the circular chamber, my focus shifted to the abandoned instruments scattered about. A colossal telescope, its brass dimmed by decades of disuse, stood pointed unwaveringly towards the heavens through the opening in the dome. Surrounding its base, scattered papers displayed intricate calculations in faded ink, mathematical symbols dancing across yellowed surfaces like cryptic messages from a distant era. The gaze of the carved eyes, which had captured my attention earlier, seemed to track my every movement. Rather than menacing, they exuded a sense of patient observation, as if bearing witness to countless cosmic phenomena throughout the ages. Some eyes were deeply etched into the stone, while others appeared almost translucent, capturing and reflecting the starlight that filtered through the dome. A gentle wind stirred the dust, forming lazy spirals that shimmered in the moon's glow. The scent of old books and metal mingled with something ethereal, a fragrance akin to meteor showers and the aurora borealis. I found myself drawn to a particular corner where an antique desk stood, adorned with star charts from various epochs. As I scrutinized the charts, a peculiar realization dawned upon me. The constellations depicted on the oldest documents did not precisely align with modern configurations. Initially attributing it to the paper's age, a pattern emerged upon closer examination. The stars seemed to have shifted gradually, not in accordance with astronomical movements, but as if the very firmament itself had slowly reorganized its celestial tapestry. With soft sighs, the drawers of the desk opened, revealing leather-bound journals filled with elegant script. Within these journals were meticulous observations of watching eyes in the void and stellar patterns that breathe. While these musings might have seemed metaphorical, the precise measurements and calculations accompanying them suggested otherwise. A curious warmth emanated from the walls despite the cool night air. Tracing my fingers along the stone surface, I sensed subtle vibrations, akin to a slumbering giant's heartbeat. The carved eyes appeared to pulse in synchrony, although the shifting shadows cast doubt upon this observation. Time behaved differently within that space. Minutes stretched into hours as I delved deeper, yet when I consulted my timepiece, only a fraction had elapsed. The dome above groaned and shifted intermittently, following some unseen celestial point without any visible mechanical aid. In a journal entry dated decades prior, an astronomer chronicled the discovery of a novel celestial entity, something that defied conventional classification. This entity seemed to observe Earth as much as Earth observed it. The writer's hand, typically steady, quivered towards the end of the entry, not from fear, but due to what they termed the profound resonance of mutual recognition. As the night deepened, comprehension began to dawn upon me. The observatory had not been forsaken, it had metamorphosed. The carved eyes were not mere adornments, but indicators of a transcendence. The structure had evolved into a living instrument, a conduit between terrestrial observers and cosmic beholders. Seated at the ancient desk, I witnessed the stars wheeling overhead through the dome's aperture. The carved eyes in the walls pulsed with stellar cadences, and I felt myself harmonizing with their age-old patience. The boundary between observer and observed blurred, as did that between watcher and watched. With the approaching dawn, a realization beckoned me to depart. Yet I departed forever changed by my nocturnal sojourn amongst the watching eyes. The observatory had imparted its enigma. We were not solitary in our scrutiny of the cosmos. The cosmos had perpetually observed us in turn, through eyes both sculpted and celestial. As I retreated in the pre-dawn light, I cast a final glance behind me. The observatory stood stoically against the brightening sky, its dome oriented towards an imperceptible point amidst the fading stars. Though I revisit sporadically, I never linger as I did on that inaugural night. The carved eyes endure, eternal in their vigil, serving as a reminder that in the grand theater of observation, we are both spectators and actors. Perhaps the most profound verity I unearthed was that genuine understanding transcends verbal elucidation. It resides in the silent interstices between starshine and shadow, in the gentle throb of ancient stone, and in the patient gaze of eyes that have observed the cosmos since time immemorial. The observatory's enigma was not meant to be deciphered. It was meant to be embraced, a living testament that certain mysteries are best left shrouded in the velvety veil of uncertainty. Story 3. On a misty evening, I wandered along a creaking pier that extended into a bay blanketed in fog. The soothing sound of waves lapping against the pier and the distant calls of seabirds created a serene backdrop for the mysterious events that unfolded. Amid this natural symphony, an otherworldly melody emerged, as if the wind and water were collaborating in a secret concert. The air was heavy with the briny scent of the sea and the earthy aroma of aged wood, blending to create a sensory experience like no other. With each step I took along the weathered planks, the fog enveloped me like a soft gray shroud, muffling the sounds of the outside world. The time-worn boards groaned beneath my feet, adding a rhythmic layer to the enchanting music that seemed to emanate from all around me. The haunting yet comforting melody, reminiscent of a forgotten lullaby, tugged at my senses, playing on invisible strings that resonated deep within. The lanterns that lined the pier cast a warm, amber glow through the mist, their light creating mesmerizing halos that danced and flickered in the evening breeze. As my gaze drifted to the railings, I noticed a peculiar phenomenon. They seemed to vibrate ever so subtly, as if attuned to the mysterious music that filled the air. When I reached out to touch the smooth, salt-weathered wood, I could sense a faint tremor, like the echo of a distant bell tolling. In this surreal setting, time seemed to bend and twist, the ordinary world fading into the background as I delved deeper into the mist. The simple melody I had first heard evolved into a complex symphony with layers of harmonies blending seamlessly, the wind whispering through unseen gaps, the water rhythmically beating against the pilings, and a distant, ethereal chorus that seemed to echo from the beyond. At the far end of the pier loomed an ancient gazebo, its intricate Victorian architecture barely visible through the swirling fog. As I approached, the mysterious music swelled to a gentle crescendo, the gazebo's ornate railings vibrating like the pipes of an organ, each contributing its unique note to the ethereal composition. Inside, the wooden ceiling bore intricate carvings of spirals and waves, seemingly alive in the shifting lantern light. A weathered brass plaque, its inscription worn by time and sea air, caught my eye. Through the fading letters I could discern the words "in memory of the symphony," along with a date from a bygone era. Seated on a worn bench within the gazebo, I became entranced by the music that surrounded me, the fog swirling in a hypnotic dance that mirrored the melody's ebb and flow. As night descended, an unusual warmth enveloped me, defying the usual chill of the waterfront. The lanterns pulsed in time with the music, illuminating the intricate patterns above in a mesmerizing display of light and shadow. It became clear to me that the pier itself was a grand instrument, meticulously crafted by nature to produce its own symphony when touched by the elements. The worn plaque's message took on a deeper significance. This pier was not just a structure for ships, but a tribute to something long forgotten, a musical memorial crafted by time and tide. Leaving the gazebo, the fading melody followed me, a gentle reminder of the mysterious beauty that lingered in the air. The fog parted, guiding me back to solid ground, yet the music's echo resonated within me, a memory that would not easily fade. In the days that followed, I often returned to that pier on misty evenings, seeking the elusive symphony that played there. Each time the music was different, changing with the weather, the tides, and perhaps with the hearts of those who listened. It remained a bewitching enigma, a reminder of the profound wonders that defy explanation. The experience left me pondering a question that lingered in my mind. Was this merely a natural phenomenon, an interplay of wind and architecture creating a mesmerizing symphony? Or had I stumbled upon something truly extraordinary, a piece of history woven into the very fabric of the sea's song, a timeless melody that whispered of secrets long kept by the waves? Story 4. On a strangely cool night, I ventured into a deserted train yard at the outskirts of town. Amidst the rusted rails and silent, decaying locomotives, a solitary light flickered now and then from an old signal tower. The metallic scent of rust mingled with the musty aroma of damp concrete, while that flickering glow pulsed like a heartbeat in the dark, whispering of untold tales of journeys halted long ago. The gravel softly crunched beneath my steps as I treaded through the yard, the gentle wind whispering through empty train cars accompanying each footfall. An eerie stillness lingered in the air, the kind that settles in places forsaken by time. Moths gracefully danced around the few functional lampposts, their delicate wings casting shadows that danced across worn metal surfaces. I felt a pull towards that lone blinking light in the tower, its rhythm neither uniform nor chaotic, but purposeful in some mysterious way. The pattern stirred a memory I couldn't quite grasp, a distant recollection or a half-forgotten reverie. Drawing nearer, I observed how the tower's windows remained dark, enhancing the significance of that sole illumination. The tower's door stood slightly ajar, its hinges emitting a mournful creak as a gust of wind nudged it. Inside, the atmosphere shifted, dense, charged with an electric anticipation that made the hairs on my arms bristle. The wooden stairs groaned under my weight, releasing the faint scent of aged wood and decades-old dust. Ascending to the top floor, I stumbled upon an antiquated control room adorned with obsolete equipment. Switches, levers, and dial gauges adorned the walls, their brass and copper fittings dulled by years of neglect. Yet what captivated me was the origin of that enigmatic light, an ancient signal lamp that shouldn't have been powered, yet continued its mesmerizing pulse. As I watched, a remarkable revelation unfolded. The light's rhythm seemed to synchronize with the gentle cadence of my breath, as if acknowledging my presence. The room's ambiance shifted subtly, and I sensed an inexplicable bond with this forgotten place. The cool air carried echoes of long-gone conversations, the ghostly echoes of train whistles, and the phantom hustle of travelers who had traversed this yard in bygone eras. Settling into an old operator's chair, I found myself entranced by the interplay of light and shadow across the control panel. The rhythmic blinking appeared to narrate a tale, one of solitary nights, of signals dispatched into the abyss, of connections forged and severed. My fingers trailed the worn edges of the control panel, and I fancied I could sense the lingering warmth of hands that toiled here decades ago. Time seemed to slip away as I sat there, enveloped in the gentle pulse of light and the nocturnal symphony of sounds. The distant hoot of an owl mingled with the whisper of wind through shattered windows, crafting a lullaby of solitude. I observed how the light's pattern began to evolve, growing more intricate, almost like a code. In that moment, a realization washed over me, sending a gentle shiver down my spine. I wasn't merely observing the light, it was observing me. Not menacingly, but with the patient curiosity of something ancient and aware. The glow of the signal lamp extended, casting warm tendrils of light that etched tales on the walls in Morse code shadows. As the night deepened, I stumbled upon logbooks adorned with faded handwriting, detailing the passages of trains that had journeyed through, each entry more captivating than the last. The concluding entry, dated decades prior, simply stated, "The light knows the way home." Beneath it, a sequence of dots and dashes had been meticulously penned, a message I couldn't decipher, yet comprehended deep within. When I eventually departed the tower hours later, the light continued its steady pulse behind me. I sensed a magnetic pull to return, beckoned by the enigma of that singular beacon in the darkness. Sometimes on tranquil nights, I catch myself aligning my breath with the remembered rhythm of that light, pondering if somewhere in that deserted yard, it still blinks its age-old message into the night. The narrative of the flickering light lingers unfinished in my mind, akin to a half-recalled dream. Perhaps that's how it should be. Certain mysteries are meant to be felt rather than unraveled, their potency not in their resolution, but in the questions they sow in our minds. Gentle as moth wings against a window pane. Story 5. Amid a rare visit to a dilapidated, deserted theater, I settled into a seat within the dimly lit auditorium. A cloak of silence descended upon the space, broken only by a soft, nearly imperceptible laughter that seemed to drift through the aisles. The faint chuckles intertwined with the musty aroma of velvet curtains and decaying props, as if the theater, forsaken by time, still held on to echoes of nights filled with applause and happiness, now reduced to whispers of spirits. My purpose for being here was to seek inspiration for my writing, lured by whispers of the building's peculiar ambience. The heavy wooden doors groaned open at my touch, beckoning me into a space suspended between yesteryears and the present moment. Dust particles pirouetted in slender rays of light that filtered through lofty windows, crafting ethereal patterns that swirled and shifted like ghostly dancers on an unseen stage. Though faded, the red velvet seats retained a certain grace. Tracing my fingers along their weathered fabric, I sensed the tales woven into their fibers. Countless evenings of entertainment, romance, and enchantment. The air carried a subtle sweetness beneath its musty veneer, evoking memories of old perfumes and makeup powders, reminiscent of the lingering essence of performers long gone. As my eyes adjusted to the dimness, I caught glimpses of subtle movements in my periphery. The heavy stage curtains stirred sporadically, despite the absence of any breeze. The soft rustle of fabric was accompanied by faint footsteps that seemed to traverse the stage, their rhythm mirroring the cadence of a forgotten dance. In the tranquility, I discerned more sounds, the gentle creak of floorboards, as if unseen performers were taking their positions, and the hushed rustle of pages turning, like an unseen prompter reviewing a script. These sounds were not unsettling, but rather soothing, like being embraced by a quilt of memories. Time seemed to ebb differently within these walls. Minutes stretched into hours as I sat motionless, absorbing the hushed symphony of the theater. The afternoon light gradually shifted, casting elongated shadows over the vacant seats. These shadows seemed to morph into shapes, silhouettes of an attentive audience, their forms suggesting refined evening attire and meticulously styled hair. The laughter I had earlier discerned returned, now accompanied by what resembled muted applause. It was distant yet intimate, akin to a playback at the faintest volume. I closed my eyes, allowing the sound to envelop me. Upon reopening them, I could have sworn I glimpsed the flutter of a dress vanishing behind a column, the fabric catching the light fleetingly before disappearing. As evening approached, the theater seemed to awaken. The temperature fluctuated unexpectedly, patches of warmth followed by cool breezes, as if unseen figures were passing by. The stage lights, dormant for decades, seemed to emit a faint, phosphorescent glow, barely perceptible but undeniably present. I felt drawn to the stage. The wooden steps groaned beneath my weight as I ascended, each sound reverberating through the vacant expanse. Standing at center stage, facing the sea of empty seats, yet they did not feel empty at all. The air brimmed with anticipation, like an audience holding its breath before the opening act of a show. From this vantage point, I noticed details previously overlooked. Scattered about the wings were small items: a tarnished hand mirror, a lone glove, an aged script with yellowed curling pages, all arranged as if their owners had momentarily stepped away. The mirror's dulled surface occasionally captured reflections that should not have been there. Fleeting glimpses of movement, flashes of color, vanishing before I could focus on them. When I finally spoke, my voice emerged as a mere whisper. "Is anyone there?" The words lingered in the air, absorbed by the darkness beyond the stage. The response was not immediate, but a gradual amalgamation of subtle sounds, the rustle of fabric, distant murmurs, the soft tap of footsteps, all weaving together like an orchestral composition crescendoing. Standing there, I began to realize that the theater was not truly vacant. It teemed with echoes, not only of sound but of moments, emotions, and experiences. Each performance, every laugh, every tear shed in response to a poignant scene had left an imprint, crafting layers of memory that had somehow materialized in the quietude. The laughter I had heard was not malevolent or mocking, but rather joyful, appreciative, stemming from genuine entertainment and delight. It was as though the theater itself had absorbed all these instances of happiness and occasionally allowed them to seep back into our realm, akin to notes from a music box playing of its own accord. As nightfall descended, I knew it was time to depart. Navigating my way through the aisles, I encountered a gentle resistance, as if the theater wished to detain me a while longer. The exit door appeared farther than I recollected, the path leading to it winding through pools of shadow that had not been there before. Upon finally reaching the door, I cast one last glance backward. In that fleeting moment, I could have sworn I beheld the entire theater as it once thrived. Seats brimming with shadowy figures, stage lights radiating warmth, curtains quivering with anticipation. Yet it vanished in an instant, leaving only the familiar vacancy. However, as I crossed the threshold, I comprehended that empty was not the appropriate term. The theater overflowed, brimming with stories, memories, moments frozen in time. And sometimes, if you listen intently enough, you can perceive them all unfolding once more, an eternal performance for a solitary observer. The laughter I had heard would linger with me, a testament that certain places are never truly deserted. They merely bide their time, amassing memories until someone arrives who knows how to discern the echoes of joy lingering in the shadows. Story 6. In the dead of night, cruising down a deserted highway, my gaze was drawn to an ancient radio tower outlined against the moon's soft glow. The crackling static from my car radio was suddenly overtaken by a rhythmic signal that seemed to carry a cryptic message within its pulses. The cool breeze, carrying hints of metal and distant storms, whispered of secrets long forgotten, as if the tower was a conduit to a bygone era. Intrigued, I felt compelled to stop by the roadside, my car's engine humming to a stillness as I silenced it, leaving only the gentle rustle of wind and the persistent, enigmatic static from the radio. The signal, now more distinct, played a sequence of long and short bursts, reminiscent of Morse code but with a unique twist. The tower loomed tall against the deep blue sky, its warning lights extinguished, its metal surface etched with intricate patterns of rust that almost seemed intentional. Watching as the moon's shadows danced upon it, the tower appeared to sway ever so slightly, as if alive with some unseen energy. The rhythm of the signal began to stir a sense of familiarity within me, like a half-remembered melody from childhood, lulling me into a trance. Closing my eyes, I surrendered to the waves of sound, straining to place where I had encountered it before. The static ebbed and flowed, carrying fragmented whispers that teased at forming coherent words just beyond reach. Fumbling for my phone to capture the strange transmission, I found it unresponsive, the screen remaining blank despite being fully charged. The air thickened with anticipation, as if the very night held its breath in anticipation of some revelation. A soft mist enveloped the tower's base, cloaking it in a shroud of mystery. Enthralled by the signal's hypnotic cadence, memories not entirely my own began to surface. Visions of people in a control room urgently discussing something of great importance, a truth they sought to safeguard. The scene played out vividly, complete with the aroma of coffee and the mechanical hum of tape reels. The mist deepened, veiling the tower in a ghostly haze, while the signal's pattern subtly shifted, allowing me to glean morsels of its encoded message. Numbers, dates, scientific data, and coordinates flashed through my mind, revealing a profound discovery encrypted within the endless broadcast, awaiting comprehension. Time seemed to lose its grip as I sat immersed in the cocoon of sound and mist, the chill of the night creeping in. Each pulse of static felt like a piece of a grand puzzle, dormant for decades, yearning for someone to unlock its secrets. A soft glow emanated from the tower's base, pulsating rhythmically with the signal, casting a warm, amber light that wove through the mist in a mesmerizing dance. I watched, entranced, as the light synchronized with my breath, lulling me into a trance. The signal's melody evolved into a soothing rhythm, akin to a lullaby, and I understood that the memories transmitted were deliberate, preserved in the loop of static and silence. As dawn approached, the mist dispersed, the signal fading gradually, leaving the tower in silent contemplation, its enigmas shrouded in layers of decay and history. My phone suddenly sprang to life, revealing missed calls from concerned loved ones. The first light of morning painted the sky in pastel hues, casting the night's events in a dreamlike haze. Setting off on the empty highway, a shift had occurred within me. The signal's cadence lingered, humming beneath the surface of my thoughts, a melody waiting to be deciphered. I knew I would return to this place, drawn to unravel more of its mystique. Some frequencies, once attuned to, become a part of our internal broadcast, connecting us to a realm beyond ourselves. On quiet nights, when the wind whispers just right, snatches of that signal in the radio static remind me of the mysteries that linger, concealed in plain view, beckoning for a willing ear. The tower stands as a testament to those who paved the way, their message encrypted in waves of static, patiently awaiting the one destined to unveil its truth. Story 7. On a misty morning at a forsaken beach, I strolled along an abandoned boardwalk adorned with worn planks. Intricate, enigmatic patterns were etched into the wood, appearing too purposeful to be mere chance. The tang of sea air and driftwood intertwined with the steady crash of waves, beckoning me to unravel the cryptic message etched into the fabric of time itself. I felt a pull towards these peculiar markings, my fingertips tracing their aged grooves as I meandered. The mist enveloped me like a gentle shroud, softening all sounds save for the soothing rhythm of waves and the occasional call of a far-off seabird. The weathered planks whispered beneath my steps, their ancient voices recounting the myriad footsteps that had trodden before mine. The patterns seemed to morph and shift as I followed them, at times resembling simple geometric shapes, while other times hinting at letters from an unfamiliar alphabet. In the muted morning light, they took on an otherworldly essence, as though they might vanish if I gazed too intently. The salty breeze filled my lungs with each inhale, carrying with it the musty fragrance of aged timber and forgotten histories. Venturing further along the boardwalk, I noticed a peculiarity in the mist. It ebbed in some areas and billowed in others, creating spectral pathways that guided my journey. The temperature subtly fluctuated as I walked, warm patches yielding to cool spots that raised goosebumps on my skin. The sound of my footsteps echoed differently, as if the very space around me was gradually altering its dimensions. I discerned that by following specific sequences within the patterns, I could anticipate where these warm pockets would emerge. It evolved into a serene game of observation and intuition, my mind settling into a tranquil cadence as I deciphered this silent dialect. The marks seemed to respond to the shifting light, unveiling new depths and significances as the morning unfolded. Time began to blur as I wandered. The mist cocooned me in a timeless sphere, where past and present melded seamlessly. I could almost envision the hands that had carved these patterns, toiling in solitude during countless tranquil mornings like this one. Had they engraved these marks as a missive, or were they merely following their own enigmatic directive? The patterns guided me to a segment of the boardwalk that curved gently away from the shore. Here, the markings grew more intricate, intertwining with the natural grain of the wood in a manner that blurred the distinction between them. The ocean song became fainter, replaced by a subtle hum that seemed to resonate from the wood itself. I found myself swaying slightly as I walked, my strides falling into a natural tempo that synchronized with the pulse of this mysterious realm. Occasionally, the mist would part, offering fleeting glimpses of the gray sea beyond. Yet these moments felt less substantial than the world of patterns I traversed. My fingers had internalized certain sequences, and I unconsciously traced them, akin to reading Braille in a reverie. As the morning progressed, I began to observe subtle alterations in the patterns I had passed earlier. It was as though they were gradually evolving, spreading like frost on a window pane. However, when I glanced back to scrutinize them, they appeared unaltered. The mist played tricks on distance and perspective, making it challenging to gauge how far I had journeyed or how to retrace my steps. The air grew dense with moisture, and tiny droplets gathered on my skin and garments. These droplets seemed to mirror the patterns I had been tracking, forming ephemeral reflections of the wooden engravings. Within these watery patterns, I glimpsed other mornings, other wanderers, other messages left behind in this transitional space. When I eventually opted to turn back, I realized that the patterns had led me in a vast, gradual spiral. The mist began to lift slightly, unveiling the ocean on one side and a misty expanse of dunes on the other. The markings on the boardwalk now seemed to point in both directions, towards the path I had traversed and towards paths untaken. I never fully unraveled what the patterns signified, if they held any meaning at all. Yet as I retraced my steps, I comprehended that perhaps their true purpose wasn't to be decoded, but to be lived. They had crafted a realm beyond conventional time, a meditation in wood and mist, where the boundary between observer and observed blurred as indistinct as the morning haze itself. Even now, when I shut my eyes, I can still sense those patterns beneath my fingertips. They manifest in my dreams at times, still evolving gradually, still narrating their tranquil tale. And in those fleeting moments between wakefulness and slumber, I ponder if another soul now wanders that boardwalk, appending their silent missives to its enigmatic lexicon. Story 8: The Abandoned Lighthouse. Driving along a rugged coastline, my gaze was captured by an abandoned lighthouse, stoically standing against the relentless assault of crashing waves. Its once vibrant red paint now faded, and its weathered stones crumbling with time emanated a profound sense of quiet sorrow, as if it held the weight of lost sailors and forgotten dreams within its very structure. Amidst the ceaseless howling of the wind and the sharp tang of salt in the air, a soft, mournful whisper seemed to drift out from the lighthouse, carrying a melancholic melody that intertwined with the night itself. Compelled by an inexplicable pull, I steered my car to the side of the road, the headlights casting long, stretching shadows along the worn path that led to the lighthouse. The gravel beneath my feet whispered softly as I made my way closer, each step deliberate and measured. The evening air hung heavy with a peculiar sense of weight, laden with both moisture and memories that seemed to linger in the fading light. As twilight descended, delicate spirals of mist twined around the base of the tower, like ephemeral tendrils reaching skyward, ghostly and ethereal. To my surprise, the door stood unlocked, a fact that felt both out of place and yet strangely anticipated. With a gentle groan, the door swung open, the hinges emitting a low, mournful creak that harmonized eerily with the whisper that had called out to me earlier. Stepping inside, I was enveloped by the thick scent of aged wood and sea salt, mingling with a sweeter, almost floral fragrance, perhaps a lingering trace of lamp oil from years long past. As I ascended the spiral staircase, my hand trailed along the cool metal railing, each footfall echoing with a hollow resonance that seemed to vibrate through the very core of the lighthouse. The worn wooden steps, polished smooth by the passage of countless feet before mine, creaked softly in acknowledgement of my presence, a silent greeting from the past. Through salt-crusted windows I glimpsed the darkening sky painted in deep hues of purple and blue, pulsating with an otherworldly energy that seemed to seep into the very walls around me. The keeper's quarters, nestled just below the lantern room, exuded a sense of suspended time. Dust motes danced in the beam of my flashlight, swirling like miniature galaxies suspended in the air. An open logbook lay upon a simple wooden desk, its pages yellowed with age, the final entry dated decades in the past. Yet, it was the gentle sway of a rocking chair by the window that drew my gaze, the subtle movement betraying a presence despite the stillness of the surroundings. And as my eyes wandered, I began to notice the photographs adorning the walls, images capturing the lighthouse at various times of day and seasons, each featuring a solitary figure standing on the gallery rail. A woman in a flowing dress, her face turned towards the sea, her form immortalized in a perpetual state of yearning and watching. The whisper persisted as I climbed higher, a soft echo of a voice carrying threads of longing and patience. It was not a spoken word, but a memory of sound, lingering in the air like a forgotten refrain. Upon reaching the lantern room, I beheld the massive Fresnel lens that dominated the circular space, its prisms capturing the last remnants of twilight and scattering them into a myriad of rainbow fragments that danced around the room. Inexplicably clean and pristine despite years of neglect, the lens mesmerized me, drawing my gaze to the rhythmic sweep of the distant waves below. And then, the first notes began to sound, clear, pure, like crystalline chimes resonating from the very heart of the lighthouse. A a hauntingly beautiful melody that stirred tears in my eyes, heavy with a sorrow so deep that it tugged at the strings of my heart. The temperature plummeted suddenly, and a presence, unseen but deeply felt, brushed against me. A fragrance of lavender and sea spray enveloped the room, and in the reflection of the lens, a fleeting image of a woman in a pale dress materialized, her eyes fixed on the distant horizon. Yet, when I turned to meet her gaze, she had vanished, leaving behind only the lingering strains of her haunting song, merging with the whispers of the wind. Respecting the profound melancholy that permeated the space, I descended slowly, each step a deliberate act of reverence. The photographs now held a different light, the woman's visage clearer, her expression a blend of hope and resignation. It dawned on me then, she was not a captive spirit, but a willing guardian, choosing to keep her eternal watch over the lost souls and the ever-burning light of the lighthouse. Seated once more in my car, I lingered, watching as the first stars emerged above the lighthouse, their distant twinkling a silent tribute to the enduring presence within. The whisper, now a gentle companion, no longer carried a sense of mystery or unease. It served as a poignant reminder that some bonds transcend time, some duties endure beyond the veil of death itself. Even now, years later, on tranquil nights when the wind whispers just so, I catch echoes of that haunting melody. It evokes her image, standing steadfast in her lantern room, a sentinel watching over the lost and guiding them through the darkness. I have come to realize that not all places haunted by the past are meant to instill fear. Some exist to remind us that love, duty, and memory are forces so potent that they resonate through eternity, like a gentle, whispered melody that lingers on the edge of our awareness. Story 9. On a hazy afternoon, I ventured into a forgotten quarry at the edge of a tranquil town. The expansive, empty expanse resonated with soft, eerie whispers as the wind meandered through rugged rocks and concealed crevices. The cool aroma of aged stone and lingering dampness lingered in the air, creating a clandestine dialogue between the quarry and time itself, igniting my curiosity about the enigmatic tales these silent walls had borne witness to. Delving further into the quarry, my footsteps reverberated gently on weathered stone paths. Each step stirred up wisps of pale dust that pirouetted in the soft light filtering through the cloudy sky above. The atmosphere grew noticeably cooler as I descended, carrying with it an unexplainable sweetness reminiscent of rain-soaked blossoms. Abandoned places had always beckoned to me, but this quarry held a unique allure, a subtle pulse of energy emanating from its very core. The stone walls, standing tall like ancient sentinels around me, bore the scars of countless years of human toil, yet now they whispered of something much older, much deeper. As I turned a corner, a peculiar sight caught my eye. Against one of the walls, partly obscured by a cascade of climbing vines, stood an aged wooden door. Its surface had weathered to a soft gray hue, and despite its apparent antiquity, it seemed strangely well preserved. What intrigued me most was not its sudden appearance, but the way the vines surrounding it swayed, not with the wind, but in a slow, rhythmic motion akin to breathing. Approaching the door cautiously, my fingertips grazed the cool stone wall beside it. The sweet fragrance in the air intensified, mingling with an earthy undertone reminiscent of freshly turned earth. Standing there, I began to perceive subtle shifts in the quarry's ambience. The natural echo of the space seemed to transform, adopting an almost melodic quality. It was as if the very stone itself hummed a tune just beneath the threshold of conscious hearing. The door bore no handle, only a smooth, worn surface where one might have been. Upon closer inspection, I noticed intricate patterns etched into the wood, spirals and curves that seemed to shift and morph when viewed from different angles. Each attempt to trace a pattern to its conclusion led seamlessly into another, crafting an endless dance of geometric elegance. Time seemed to flow differently in that realm. The overcast sky above had darkened imperceptibly, yet I was unable to discern if minutes or hours had slipped by. The quarry's whispers had grown clearer, though still indecipherable, akin to muffled conversations heard through walls, the rhythm of speech devoid of distinct words. Finding myself seated on a smooth boulder near the door, I was entranced by the gentle undulation of the vines and the steady pulse of energy that permeated the space. The rock beneath me exuded warmth despite the chill in the air, as if it retained an ancient memory of the sun's embrace. As twilight approached, faint points of light began to emerge from the deeper recesses in the quarry walls. They lacked the luminosity to illuminate their surroundings, but moved purposefully, resembling stars shifting in a stone firmament. Their movements mirrored the carvings on the wooden door, crafting a silent dialogue between light and shadow. The sweet fragrance grew more potent, accompanied by a sensation of weightlessness, as if the very air had thickened to cradle my body. The quarry's whispers had evolved into a gentle symphony of stone and wind, punctuated by sounds reminiscent of footsteps or heartbeats, or perhaps both. Upon rising to depart, a subtle change caught my gaze. The door, though still present, had shifted slightly, revealing a thin strip of warm light along its edge. The vines continued their gentle breathing motion, now seeming to elongate ever so slowly, extending delicate tendrils towards me, faintly luminous in the encroaching darkness. That day, I refrained from touching the door, yet I revisited the quarry numerous times thereafter. Sometimes I would linger for hours, observing the interplay of light and shadow, listening to the stone's murmured confidences. The door stood steadfast, neither yielding nor closing, but always evolving in subtle ways that eluded my grasp. The question of what lay beyond lingered in my thoughts during quiet moments. Yet I came to realize that certain mysteries are destined to remain unsolved. The quarry safeguarded its secrets, divulging them solely through whispers and illusions, in the gentle sway of vines and the soft gleam of hidden lights. Perhaps the true enchantment lay not in uncovering the door's mysteries, but in the tranquil contemplation of its presence. In my dreams, I often returned to that spot, sensing the warm stone beneath me and the cool caress of the breeze. The quarry's whispers accompanied me into slumber, a lullaby woven of stone and time, reminding me that some places exist in the ethereal realm between knowledge and imagination, sight and emotion. The door persisted, nestled amidst its bed of respiring vines, neither beckoning nor barring entry, and the quarry continued its timeless discourse with time, communicating through whispers and lights, shadows and scents, narrating tales to those willing to listen with an open heart and a tranquil mind. Story 10. In the deep hush of midnight, while nestled in my bed, a stray echo found its way to me, a voice both hauntingly familiar and distantly achy. The soft whir of the air conditioner and the gentle rustle of leaves outside wove together in a ghostly harmony, stirring up memories of a presence I believed had long departed. That night, my bedroom held a peculiar aura. Moonbeams cascaded through the window, casting shimmering silver patterns on the walls, shapes that seemed to pulse with a subtle breath-like rhythm. The air itself felt heavy, pregnant with anticipation like the calm before a storm, where all is poised and waiting. Shadows lingered in the corners, deeper and more secretive than usual, almost as if they were conspiring in murmured confidences. The voice returned, a whisper on the edge of hearing, reminiscent of wind chimes swaying in a gentle breeze, melodic yet tinged with a deep sense of sorrow. Slowly, I sat up, the blanket slipping off with a soft sigh of fabric gliding against fabric. The solid coolness of the wooden floor beneath my feet grounded me in reality, even as my thoughts drifted towards the inexplicable. Moving through the house at night had always been a well-known dance of muscle memory and cautious steps, but that night each room exuded an unfamiliar quality. The hallway stretched out before me, its walls seeming to absorb light rather than reflect it back. Family photographs observed my passage with distant gazes frozen behind glass, their once familiar faces now more remote than I recalled. The voice beckoned me towards my study, where rows of books lined the walls, their spines forming a tapestry of muted colors in the dimness. My favorite reading chair sat empty, yet there was a sense of expectancy in its stillness, as if it had just been vacated. The leather retained a lingering warmth, and beside it, my grandmother's antique table lamp cast a pool of amber light that seemed to pulse ever so subtly with each whispered breath. Something caught my eye amidst my collection of vinyl records, a single album slightly askew, its sleeve showing signs of frequent handling. I couldn't recall the last time I had touched it, yet there it sat, a patient messenger awaiting my attention. The dust cover of the record player was raised, though I could have sworn I had closed it the night before. Almost of its own accord, my hands lifted the record from its sleeve. The vinyl shimmered in the lamp's glow, creating mesmerizing rings of reflection spiraling towards the center like an enchanting invitation. Placing it on the turntable, the needle found its groove without my guidance, and music began to play, but not the expected symphony. Instead, the room filled with the sound of rain pattering on a tin roof, mingling with distant piano notes that seemed to arise from the depths of memory itself. The voice intertwined with these sounds, clearer now, uttering words that felt like fragments of a conversation from a dream. It spoke of summer evenings spent on a swing, of promises whispered beneath starlit skies, and of time slipping away like sand through open fingers. My grandmother's antique clock ticked steadily in the corner, its brass pendulum marking time with a hypnotic swing that seemed to stretch into eternity. The voice now spoke of her, conjuring memories of evenings spent listening to her tales, her hands busy with needlework while the same lamp bathed us in its golden light. Did she hold knowledge of this voice? Had she left behind a message only now beginning to reveal itself? A subtle shift in the room's atmosphere caused currents of air to stir, making the lamp's light flicker and dance. Shadows took on new depths, revealing intricate patterns reminiscent of the lace doilies my grandmother used to create. Patterns that seemed to carry hidden significance. Sinking into my reading chair, its familiar embrace cradling me, I surrendered to the ethereal monologue that continued to weave its spell. The words fell into a rhythm that mirrored the pendulum's swing, creating a hypnotic tapestry of memory and enigma. My fingers traced the well-worn grooves on the chair's armrests, following paths forged by years of contemplation. The bookshelves seemed to breathe in time with the voice, their contents shifting imperceptibly. A particular book caught my gaze, a volume of poetry gifted by my grandmother long ago. Its spine glimmered faintly in the lamplight, and I realized the voice recited verses that I had once read aloud to her during her final days. Time itself seemed to flow like thick honey in winter, rich with meaning yet defying quantification. With each passing moment, the voice grew clearer, though its message remained just beyond complete grasp. It spoke of connections that transcended time, of love echoing through generations, of memories residing in the spaces between heartbeats. As dawn tiptoed closer, its pale fingers stretching through the window, the voice began to fade. The record continued its silent revolution, the needle tracing an unending path. The lamp's light pulsed a final time, and in that fleeting moment I grasped a profound understanding about memory and loss, how certain voices never truly depart. They merely await the opportune moment to share their truths. When morning bathed the room in full light, I found myself still nestled in the reading chair, the record player silent, the lamp extinguished. No tangible evidence remained of the nocturnal reverie, save for a book of poetry resting open on the side table, its pages adorned with my grandmother's delicate annotations. Dream or reality, the distinction blurred in the wake of the lingering essence, a connection to something vast and enigmatic, yet intimately known. Though the voice had faded with the night, its echo lingered, a gentle reminder that some mysteries are meant to be felt, experienced, and embraced, rather than deciphered. In the hushed moments that followed, I discovered solace in the uncertainty, in the realm between comprehension and wonderment, where the most exquisite mysteries found their dwelling place. Story 11. On a chilly winter morning, just after a fresh blanket of snow had settled, a peculiar sight greeted me outside my doorstep. There, imprinted in the pristine snow, were a set of large footprints, distinct and purposeful, unlike any I had ever seen before. They meandered away from my home, disappearing mysteriously into the untouched drifts, leaving behind a trail of intrigue. The crisp scent of pine and icy ground lingered in the air, adding to the enigmatic atmosphere that enveloped me. Clad in my cozy wool sweater, I stood at the threshold, observing as soft snowflakes gently floated down from the sky, painting the world in a serene hue. The hush that accompanies freshly fallen snow settled over the landscape, where even the slightest sound seemed amplified in its muted tranquility. The aged wooden porch beneath me murmured softly as I made my decision to venture out. Donning my winter gear, boots and coat, I felt a sense of anticipation stir within me. Each rustle of fabric, each click of a button, was a prelude to the journey that beckoned me into the snowy expanse. Stepping onto the porch, my breath materialized in wispy clouds in the frigid air, guiding me towards the enigmatic footprints etched in the snow. These footprints, though human-like in shape, possessed an uncanny depth and clarity, as if crafted with meticulous intent. Each impression was flawless, devoid of any signs of hesitance or faltering. They formed a straight path leading towards the ancient stone wall that bordered my property, where towering trees stood sentinel in their winter slumber. As I followed the trail, a curious observation caught my eye. Despite the ongoing snowfall, these footprints remained sharp and well-defined, while my own tracks behind me had already started to blur under the fresh snowfall. Whispers of the wind danced through the bare tree branches above, composing a subtle winter symphony that grew more pronounced with every step I took. A peculiar warmth seemed to radiate from each footprint, seeping through the soles of my boots. Kneeling down to inspect one closely, I noticed intricate patterns within the impression, delicate and fluid, as if alive with a gentle pulse. This revelation sent a tingle of awe down my spine, a sensation not of fear, but of marvel. As the morning light shifted, casting elongated shadows that pointed towards the trail, I became aware of a subtle shift in the surroundings. The scent of pine gave way to an ancient aroma, redolent of forgotten tomes and hidden chambers. The snow-laden branches arched overhead, forming a natural canopy that mirrored the path of the footprints. Time itself seemed to bend in this ethereal space, where snowflakes hung suspended in midair, defying gravity for a fleeting moment. The silence deepened, enfolding me in a cocoon of tranquility, as my breath synchronized with a gentle rhythm pulsing from the ground beneath the footprints. Approaching the stone wall, I noticed a section that had escaped my notice before. The weathered stones were arranged in a shifting pattern that seemed to morph with every angle of view. The final footprint halted abruptly at the base of the wall, but the stones above it emitted a peculiar warmth, causing the snow to melt in intricate designs along their edges. Pressing my gloved hand against the heated stone, I felt a resonance, a faint melody echoing just beyond reach. The tingling sensation lingered in my fingertips, harmonizing with the rhythmic pulse I had sensed earlier in the breathing snow. That evening, as darkness descended over the landscape, the footprints retained their clarity, untouched by the falling snow. Gradually, they began to emit a soft, phosphorescent glow, a subtle illumination that mirrored the rhythmic heartbeat I had felt earlier. Each footprint pulsed with a gentle light, creating a luminous path that seemed to beckon me towards the stone wall. In the quiet of some winter mornings, I now encounter fresh sets of these mysterious footprints in the snow. Each time, they lead me to different parts of the wall, carrying the same warmth and subtle pulse that had captivated me before. Though the creator remains unseen, I have come to embrace their mystical presence. These enigmatic footprints serve as a reminder that even in the depths of winter, there exist warm sanctuaries where reality blurs, and the line between known and unknown fades like snow melting under an unseen touch. I have learned to anticipate their arrival, the stillness that precedes their appearance, the thickening of the air with anticipation, the subtle shift in how shadows fall upon the snow. These visitations have transformed from a source of uncertainty to one of solace. Each new set of footprints an invitation to unravel the gentle mysteries that reside at the fringes of our world. The stone wall stands stoic yet altered, marking the threshold between the familiar and the enigmatic. In the silent moments before dawn, when the world holds its breath in the transition between night and day, I sometimes catch a faint echo of footsteps in the snow, moving with deliberate grace through the winter stillness, leaving behind imprints etched into the frozen earth. Story 12. Ascending a set of decaying stone steps in a hidden courtyard, my eyes were drawn to an unfamiliar symbol deeply etched into the weathered surface. Bathed in a faint glow from the filtered light above, the symbol exuded an aura of ancient secrets waiting to be unraveled. The scent of moss and aged stone filled the air, weaving a tapestry of intrigue around me. Pausing in awe before the enigmatic carving, I felt as though it whispered of long-forgotten truths buried within the folds of time. Its intricate design, a dance of swirling patterns and sharp angles, seemed to shift and sway with each new perspective. Kneeling down to touch the symbol, the stone beneath my hand radiated an unexpected warmth, a stark contrast to the crisp autumn chill. A gentle breeze rustled the leaves of the surrounding trees, carrying with it the sweet perfume of late blooms and fading foliage. Night after night, I found myself drawn back to those steps, mesmerized by the play of light on the ancient symbol, its faint inner glow pulsing like a heartbeat in the fading twilight. The more I delved into the mystery of the courtyard, the more peculiar details revealed themselves. The ivy creeping along the walls shied away from the marked step, leaving a perfect circle of bare stone untouched. On silent evenings, a soft hum seemed to echo from deep within the earth, a haunting melody that stirred something primal within me. Armed with my sketchbook on one visit, I set out to capture the symbol's essence on paper. As my hand glided over the page, tracing the lines with uncanny precision, I uncovered hidden markings surrounding the main symbol, forming cryptic words in an unknown script. Strangely, upon my return the next day, the additional markings had shifted subtly, as if rearranging themselves in a cosmic dance. As autumn waned and winter's grasp tightened, I timed my visits to coincide with the setting sun. In the golden hour, a revelation awaited me. The symbol, when cast at the perfect angle, extended a shadow across the courtyard, pointing towards a secluded alcove previously unseen. Within that shadowed enclave lay a collection of similar symbols, each distinct yet connected in ways beyond comprehension. Despite the encroaching frost of winter, the marked area seemed to repel the icy chill, remaining untouched by the frost that blanketed the rest of the steps. On frigid nights, a ghostly mist would rise from the symbol, morphing into shapes that almost resembled letters before vanishing into the wintry air. In my dreams, the symbol took on a life of its own, transforming into gateways and pathways leading to realms of forgotten memories. These dreams, though shrouded in mystery, left me with a profound sense of serenity, a knowing that some truths are felt rather than understood. Awake, I found myself humming a haunting melody, a tune that seemed to echo the whispers of the wind and the lapping of distant waves. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, a silver-haired woman appeared beside me in the courtyard, Without a word, she traced the symbol with a weathered finger, the hum growing louder, the air shimmering with otherworldly light. When I turned to speak, she was gone, leaving behind a smooth stone that fit snugly in my hand. Etched upon its surface was a miniature version of the symbol, a tangible link to the enigma that had captivated me. Carrying the stone like a talisman, I returned daily to the steps, feeling the weight of the mysteries that lay just beyond reach. The symbol remained an enigma, a portal to contemplation rather than comprehension. It whispered of hidden wonders lurking beneath the surface of the mundane, urging me to embrace the unknown with open arms. And though the meaning of the symbol eludes me still, I find solace in its presence, a reminder that some mysteries are meant to be cherished, not solved. In the hushed moments between day and night, I swear I can hear the old woman's voice in the rustle of the evening breeze, humming that same ethereal melody. And while the secrets of the symbol may never fully reveal themselves, I find peace in the quiet acknowledgement that some mysteries are best left to the imagination, where magic and wonder intertwine in a dance as old as time itself. Story 13. In the heart of a forgotten used bookstore, I stumbled upon an ancient novel wrapped in a weathered leather cover, carrying the scent of bygone days and whispered memories. Nestled within its fragile pages lay a meticulously crafted bookmark, emanating a soft, enchanting radiance. Its intricate design, adorned with cryptic symbols, beckoned me to unravel the veiled tale woven deep within the essence of the book. As twilight descended and I sank into my cherished reading nook, the gentle glow of the lamplight casting soft shadows around me, I observed a curious phenomenon. The patterns on the bookmark seemed to subtly shift when I gazed away, akin to ripples on a tranquil pond. The metal filigree captured light in a manner defying natural laws, casting elusive auroras that danced upon the ceiling. Initially, the novel appeared ordinary, a Victorian-era romance. Yet as I delved into its pages, grasping the bookmark delicately between my fingers, the words underwent a metamorphosis. Familiar phrases assumed new depths, and amidst the printed lines, I could almost discern other narratives surfacing, inscribed in a flowing script that materialized and dissipated like morning mist. Each night, I found myself drawn back to the book. The bookmark perpetually cool despite the warmth of my touch. The soft rustle of turning pages evolved into a meditative rhythm, and in the hush of the night, a faint melody seemed to emanate from the bookmark. A whisper so ethereal it could have been a figment of my imagination, yet hauntingly recognizable. Occasionally, as slumber tugged at my senses during my reading, I would awaken to find the bookmark had shifted to a different page, directing me to passages that resonated as if crafted solely for my eyes. The narrative unfolded tales of clandestine gardens, veiled portals, and age-old libraries where time meandered in its own accord. In my drowsy state, I questioned whether these passages had always existed or materialized solely within the liminal space between wakefulness and dreams. The influence of the bookmark extended beyond the confines of the book, imbuing objects within my abode with a heightened significance, pregnant with veiled meanings. My grandmother's ancient mirror reflected scenes unknown to me, dissipating when I endeavored to scrutinize them. The foliage by my window flourished in patterns mirroring the bookmark's intricate designs. On a particularly tranquil evening, rain whispering against the window panes, words began to materialize on the bookmark's surface. Delicate script, fading in and out, akin to breath on a frosty pane. They narrated the tale of a librarian from eras past who fashioned the bookmark from stardust and narratives, imbuing it with the power to unveil the concealed stories existing within the interstices of written words. With each plunge into the book's depths, I gleaned that every tale ever told interlinked, flowing seamlessly like tributaries merging into the ocean. The bookmark was the key to unveiling these connections, unraveling the subtle threads binding all stories into an infinite tapestry of narrative. Weeks drifted by, and a transformation stirred within me. My dreams burgeoned with visions of boundless libraries stretching into eternity. I became attuned to stories ubiquitous, in the sidewalk's crevices, the fallen leaves' patterns, and the passing strangers' murmurs. The bookmark had kindled a cognizance of reality's narrative essence within me. Approaching the novel's conclusion, I noticed certain pages rewriting themselves upon revisitation. Characters I had come to know assumed new roles, navigating different scenarios, unveiling fresh facets of their sagas. The bookmark pulsated with a gentle warmth during these alterations, as if acknowledging its role in the metamorphosis. The final pages of the novel remained ever fluid, shifting akin to sand in an hourglass. Some nights they whispered of closure and revelation, while others unfurled into uncharted mysteries beckoning me deeper into the tale. During these junctures, the bookmark's radiance intensified, its patterns swirling with heightened vigor. Even as I transcribe this chronicle, uncertainty shrouds whether I stumbled upon the bookmark by chance or if it selected me. Yet what remains certain is its presence, nestled among the pages of diverse tomes, continuing to unveil the hidden narratives lingering within the fringes of our reality. In the tranquil moments preceding dawn, I catch fleeting glimpses of fellow readers like myself, each cradling their own mystical bookmarks, all intertwined through this clandestine library existing within the interstices of written words. The bookmark has imparted the wisdom that every book is a gateway, every tale a key, and every reader a potential voyager to uncharted realms. Tracing my fingers over its cool surface, sensing the faint vibrations of countless untold stories, I ponder about the next wanderer who will chance upon their enchanted bookmark, and the tales it shall unfurl for them in the gentle glow of a midnight reading lamp. Story 14. In the hush of an early morning stroll across a serene meadow, I halted my steps to behold the glistening dew adorning the grass. To my amazement, the dewdrops had formed themselves into intricate, minuscule letters, a script penned by the hand of nature. The air was alive with the fresh fragrance of moist earth and untamed blossoms, enveloping me in a cocoon of tranquility. A peculiar feeling washed over me, as if this transient message was a secret meant solely for my eyes. The mist of dawn draped low, embracing all in a soft, pearly gray haze. As I knelt closer to inspect the dewy letters, my breath rippled the delicate air laden with moisture. The letters appeared to shimmer and sway, their forms just beyond the grasp of understanding. Each curve and line exuded a fragile beauty, akin to the most exquisite calligraphy etched in liquid crystal. I found myself drawn back to that meadow each morning, pulled by an inexplicable force. Every day, new messages emerged, their significance tantalizingly out of reach. With the sun's gentle touch, the dew script evolved, transitioning from clear, defined shapes into abstract designs that melded into the verdant carpet below. At times, I caught glimpses of words in unfamiliar tongues, their shapes both strange and familiar. The soft murmur of the breeze through the tall grass became my constant companion, harmonizing with the gentle chorus of early birds heralding the daybreak. I meticulously chronicled these messages in a weathered journal, my fingertips tracing the damp imprints as I transcribed what I beheld. The pages bore a faint ripple from the dew, as if they too remembered their origins. One mist-laden morning, a change caught my eye. The script had begun spiraling outward from a central nexus, crafting an elaborate mandala of words and symbols. The air thrummed with a subtle energy, and the usual morning sounds dulled, as if the meadow held its breath. A tingling sensation prickled my skin as I followed the spiral's intricate path, attempting to decipher its enigmatic design. The messages surfaced in other places as well. I discovered them etched in the condensation on my bedroom window, each droplet perfectly aligned. They materialized in the steam swirling from my morning tea, fleetingly visible before vanishing into the ether. Even the frost patterns on autumn leaves seemed to bear traces of this cryptic communication. In my dreams, the scripts unfurled, flowing like molten silver through landscapes of shadow and light. They divulged secrets in whispers woven of rustling leaves and distant wind chimes. Each morning brought a fading recollection of almost grasping the meaning, slipping away like water through cupped hands. My journal burgeoned, its pages a testament to this gentle enigma. Hours slipped by as I compared the patterns, noting their alignment with the moon's phases, the shifting seasons, and the subtle transformations in the morning light. A deeper rhythm emerged, hinting that the dew script was part of a grand, unhurried dialogue between earth and sky. As winter approached, the messages dwindled, manifesting only on the purest mornings when the air was crystalline and serene. I cherished these fleeting moments, knowing each one might be the final one until spring. The frost etched its own rendition of the script, inscribing delicate messages into the frozen grass that glittered like diamonds in the pale sunlight. Years have passed, yet I still frequent the meadow, though the messages now appear sporadically. I ponder if they guided me towards this state of serene observation, this tranquil reverence for the subtle enchantment of dawn. The dew still forms its perfect beads on blade and leaf, and while the distinct letters may have faded, I discern a different narrative in their patterns, a reminder that not all mysteries need solving to carry meaning. My journal rests on my desk, its pages brimming with the echoes of those morning revelations. Opening it now, I observe how the sketched patterns seem to shift and transform under varying lights, akin to the dew script itself. Perhaps comprehension was never the aim. Perhaps the true gift lay in the quiet marvel, in learning to pause and witness the world's small wonders with patient, grateful eyes. The meadow has evolved into my sanctuary, where the line between the ordinary and the extraordinary blurs in the first light of day. Though the crystalline messages may forever elude deciphering, their essence has left an indelible imprint on my soul, teaching me that life's most profound experiences often arise not from grand revelations, but from the gentle unfurling of unanswered questions. Story 15. In the depths of a grand library's shadowy recesses, a hidden sanctuary revealed itself to me one fateful night. Behind towering shelves of forgotten manuscripts, a secret nook beckoned, bathed in a soft glow filtering through a cracked window. Dusty tomes and relics whispered of ancient tales and lost lore, their leather-bound scent mingling with the musty aroma of aged paper. It was a place untouched by time, a sanctuary of knowledge reserved for the most curious souls. As the night watchman of the library, I had grown accustomed to the gentle nocturnal rhythms of the building, the creaking of settling wooden shelves, the whisper of wind through old ventilation shafts, and the distant ticking of the grand hall's clock. But this hidden nook held a different energy, a sense of existing in its own pocket of time, separate from the modern world outside. Drawn to this space during my nightly rounds, I observed the moonlight casting ever-shifting patterns through an ornate lead-light window. Shadows danced on the aged wooden floor, forming mysterious symbols reminiscent of forgotten alphabets. In moments of profound stillness, I fancied hearing the faint whisper of pages turning, though I knew I was alone in this secluded corner. One night, as I examined the books lining the walls of my sanctuary, a peculiar discovery caught my eye. The worn leather spines seemed to form a deliberate pattern when viewed from certain angles. The heights, colors, and positions of the books hinted at a hidden order, a purposeful arrangement that piqued my curiosity. I immersed myself in studying these books, noting how the moonlight interacted with them as the night unfolded. Gilt lettering caught my flashlight beam, revealing shifting fragments of text in unfamiliar languages. The air in the nook grew heavy with the weight of untold stories, each book exuding a sense of ancient wisdom. One book, warm to the touch, as if recently held, captured my attention. Its pages remained blank, yet at the stroke of midnight, faint writing materialized, elusive and ever-changing. Like deciphering a fading dream upon waking, the words slipped away before I could grasp their meaning. As I delved deeper into the mystery of the Nook, subtle changes began to manifest. Books shifted imperceptibly between visits, the window framed unfamiliar night skies, and an eerie sensation of being watched lingered in the air. My colleagues noticed a transformation in me, as if I had unlocked a connection to the library's history that transcended time. One winter night, under the full moon's gaze, a book fell open at my feet, revealing a cryptic account of a secret society of librarians. They had mastered the art of preserving knowledge not just in words, but in the very essence of space itself. The Nook I had stumbled upon was a gateway to this ancient tradition, where the boundaries between reader and text blurred into a timeless continuum. In the warm glow of my flashlight, I penned these words, realizing the vastness of the mystery that envelops me. The Nook remains an enigma, unveiling its secrets in whispers and shadows, much like words materializing on blank pages. Yet, in this timeless space within the library's ancient walls, I find solace in the knowledge that I am part of a lineage of seekers, bound by the magic of shared understanding and the mysteries hidden within the written word. As I continue my nightly vigil, the Nook stands silent in its corner, a beacon for the next curious soul who dares to uncover its mysteries. And on nights when the moonlight bathes the library in silver and the silence deepens, I sense unseen readers joining me in our shared exploration of the boundless realms of knowledge and wonder that transcend the confines of time and space. Story 16. Amid a sudden downpour on a tranquil night, I ventured outside to retrieve my umbrella, only to discover a trail of muddy footprints leading away from my door. The raindrops fell with a steady rhythm, tapping against the pavement in a hypnotic melody. The damp air held a mysterious aura, hinting at an unspoken visitor whose presence lingered, both intriguing and unsettling. Beneath the soft glow of the porch light, I observed as the raindrops gently blurred the edges of each footprint, softening them into vague shapes against the wet concrete. The rain cascaded in gentle waves, creating a soothing white noise that seemed to hush the usual evening sounds into a distant murmur. My breath formed delicate clouds in the cool air as I pondered the enigmatic imprints before me. These footprints were peculiar, not quite matching any shoes I owned, yet there was a strange familiarity about them. They bore the mark of someone who had walked with deliberate intent, each step placed with precision. What captivated me most was their faint shimmer in the dim light, as if holding specks of reflected moonlight within them. Intrigued, I felt compelled to follow the trail, my own footsteps whispering softly on the wet ground, accompanied by the gentle patter of rain on my coat. The air carried the rich scent of wet earth, mingled with a subtle sweetness reminiscent of old books and dried flowers. The path led me through my garden, where raindrops adorned leaves and petals like delicate pearls on a string. The night-blooming jasmine had unfurled its blossoms, releasing an ethereal fragrance that danced in the misty air. The footprints weaved between the plants with a meticulous grace, never disturbing a single leaf or stem, as if the maker knew precisely where to tread. Continuing along the trail, I noticed a peculiar phenomenon with the raindrops around the footprints. They hesitated ever so slightly before touching the ground, forming fleeting orbs of suspended water. It was a subtle detail, almost imperceptible, yet captivating in its ephemeral beauty. The path led me to a small clearing where the footprints converged in a perfect circle, as though the mysterious visitor had stood there, slowly turning in place. Within the circle, the grass appeared different, shimmering with a silvery sheen, each blade swaying in an unseen breeze. Kneeling down, I ran my fingers over the grass, feeling a coolness and a gentle vibration that seemed to hum beneath my touch. The rain continued its soothing cadence, yet within the circle, each droplet sang a quiet, melodic note as it descended. As I rose, I noticed the footprints extending beyond the circle, now faint and barely discernible against the dark earth, as if their creator was gradually fading. The sweet, mysterious scent intensified here, mingling with the rain-soaked air in a way that enveloped me in a tranquil embrace. Following the faint trail led me to the ancient oak tree at the edge of my land, its branches stretching like protective arms overhead, whispering secrets to the rain. The footprints vanished at the base of the tree, blending with the natural patterns of the bark in the dim light and rain. Placing my hand against the wet bark, I felt a subtle pulsing energy, like a dormant heartbeat echoing through the tree. Water streamed down its trunk, forming intricate patterns that almost resembled words, though they dissolved before my eyes. In that moment, a shift seemed to occur in the atmosphere, an electric charge that tingled in the air, akin to the anticipation before a rainbow emerges. The raindrops fell in a mesmerizing pattern, dancing in harmony with an unseen melody, casting light and shadow in a mystical waltz. Though the silent visitor eluded my sight that night, their presence had transformed my garden into a realm of enchantment. Even upon returning to my home, the echoes of their passage lingered in the air, and the sweet scent clung to my clothes for days. Now, on quiet, rainy nights, I find myself drawn outside, hopeful to encounter new footprints meandering through my garden. Though the visitor remains elusive, a subtle change has taken root in the way the rain caresses the earth, in the way my garden blossoms, in the way the old oak tree sways in the breeze. The silent visitor bestowed upon me more than mere footprints. They left behind a gentle enigma that unfolds with each raindrop. As I pen these words by lamplight, another storm on the horizon, I ponder if the visitor merely passed through or left a part of themselves intertwined with this place. Sometimes, as I drift into slumber and the rain whispers outside my window, I swear I hear distant footsteps echoing in harmony with the raindrops, as if the ethereal presence of a wanderer still roams my garden, leaving no trace but their lingering essence. Story 17. In the quiet solitude of the attic, hidden away from the world below, a forgotten canvas waited to be discovered. Amongst the dusty relics of time, I stumbled upon the painting, a masterpiece left unfinished, frozen in a moment of transformation. The figure captured on the canvas seemed to exist in a realm between light and shadow, with features that tugged at the corners of my memory, beckoning me closer. The air in the attic was heavy with the scent of old paper and memories long forgotten. As I traced the delicate brushstrokes with my eyes, a sense of familiarity washed over me, as if the portrait held secrets from a past I had never lived. I settled into a weathered wooden chair, the only witness to my silent contemplation, as sunlight filtered through a solitary window, casting a soft glow upon the canvas. The portrait, with its blurred boundaries and ethereal presence, seemed to come alive in the shifting light of the attic. It whispered stories of bygone days, of dreams half remembered and fears long buried. The creaking of the old house provided a soothing backdrop, lulling me into a trance as I traced the intricate details of the painting with trembling fingers. As evening descended upon the attic, the golden light of dusk bathed the room in a warm embrace, casting long shadows that danced across the wooden floor. The temperature dropped ever so slightly, carrying with it the promise of autumn on the horizon, and in that moment I felt a connection stir within me, a bond forming between myself and the enigmatic figure on the canvas. With each passing hour, time seemed to lose its grip on reality, stretching and bending as I delved deeper into the mysteries of the unfinished portrait. Behind it, a faded inscription beckoned to me, urging me to Remember, the light changes everything. The words hung in the air like a whispered promise, guiding me towards a truth that remained just beyond reach. In the quiet hours of the night, when sleep eluded me, I would ascend the narrow stairs to the attic, drawn to the unfinished portrait like a moth to a flame. Bathed in the silvery light of the moon, the painting took on a life of its own, its half-formed features shifting and changing with each passing moment. And so, night after night, I sat in silent communion with the portrait, sharing my innermost thoughts and fears with a silent witness who seemed to understand without judgment. The eyes of the figure followed me, their gaze mirroring my own emotions, reflecting the ebb and flow of my inner world. Seasons came and went, painting the world outside the attic window in hues of change and transformation. And as the portrait remained unfinished, I came to realize that its true beauty lay in its incompleteness. It was a mirror of the soul, a reflection of the ever-evolving nature of life itself. In the quiet stillness of the attic, where time moved at its own pace, I found solace in the presence of the mysterious painting. It was a reminder that perfection lay not in completion, but in the journey of becoming. And so, I embraced the enigma of the portrait, letting its unfinished edges blur the lines between reality and imagination. Years have passed since that fateful discovery in the attic, yet the portrait still holds me captive with its silent allure. I visit it often, a faithful companion in moments of quiet reflection. With each passing day, I discover new layers to its mystery, new depths to its silent wisdom. The painting remains unfinished, a testament to the ever-changing nature of existence. And in its incompleteness, I find a sense of peace, a reminder that life itself is a work in progress, a canvas waiting to be filled with the brushstrokes of experience and the colors of memory. And so, in the gentle, dust-filled light of the attic, I continue to share my quiet moments with the portrait, allowing its mysteries to unfold in their own time. For in the end, it is not the answers we seek, but the journey of discovery, one quiet moment at a time. Story 18. Amidst a sudden deluge on an otherwise unremarkable night, I sought shelter beneath an awning to evade the rain's grasp. The downpour drummed a symphony on the pavement, its cadence interrupted by a faint, urgent murmur carried within the storm's embrace. The air was cool and saturated with the fragrance of rain and distant thunder, and within that whispered message lay hints of enigmatic truths the storm yearned to unveil. I stood transfixed, enchanted by the rhythmic dance of raindrops on the canvas above me. The whisper returned, more distinct this time, akin to a voice murmuring just beyond my shoulder. I turned, only to find emptiness and the encroaching dusk. The street lamps flickered to life, casting gentle halos in the misty atmosphere. A compelling force seemed to beckon me towards a narrow alley flanked by weathered brick buildings. Under ordinary circumstances, I would have dismissed such a calling as folly, but this night was different. The whisper bore no ill will, only a soft insistence reminiscent of my grandmother's bedtime stories. With cautious steps, I entered the shadowed alley, the rain now a gentle mist enveloping me. The warmth of the brick walls, despite the evening chill, hinted at a history steeped in sunlight, now slowly seeping back into the world. My footfalls created soft ripples and puddles, reflecting the ethereal light filtering through the mist. The alley widened into a secluded courtyard, shielded from prying eyes by the surrounding structures. At its center, an ancient fountain stood, its worn stone glistening with rainwater. A melodic cascade flowed from its spout, harmonizing with the rain to form a soothing melody. The whisper seemed to emanate from the very heart of the fountain, growing more insistent as I drew near. Clustering around the fountain's base were small azure flowers, their petals aglow with a mystical light pulsing in harmony with the falling water. These blooms, both ancient and fresh, existed beyond the constraints of time, an enigma to my eyes. Kneeling beside the fountain, a sense of déjà vu washed over me, drawn by an inexplicable familiarity in the air. The stone bore faint markings, resembling a script unknown to me, shifting beneath my touch like waterlogged words. The whisper evolved into coherent phrases, weaving tales of memories and pledges of time's cyclical dance akin to the fountain's spiraling waters. It spoke of past visitors, drawn to this hidden sanctuary across the ages by the same gentle summons on rainy nights. As I gazed into the fountain's pool, reflections materialized. Echoes of bygone eras, alternate lives, and fleeting moments mirrored back at me. Each vision ebbed like the tide, leaving behind a lingering essence of what once was. The blue blossoms continued their ethereal pulsing, casting dancing shadows on the courtyard walls, as time itself unfurled at a leisurely pace, akin to honey trickling from a spoon. In this secluded haven, there was no rush, no fear of encroaching darkness. The whispers enveloped me like a familiar lullaby, half remembered from childhood dreams. Seated by the fountain, the rain persisted in its gentle descent, veiling this hidden enclave from the mundane world beyond. Secrets were shared, mysteries unveiled, destined to linger in the recesses of my mind, surfacing in the depths of slumber. Upon rising to depart, a solitary blue flower detached itself, drifting into my outstretched hand. Its glow had waned to match the natural world, yet retained its intrinsic beauty. The whispers waned as I retraced my steps through the alley, but their presence lingered, a comforting embrace. Emerging onto the street, the rain had ceased, though the air remained pregnant with moisture. The familiar glow of street lamps illuminated the dampened pavement, life resuming its customary rhythm. Yet, I knew within that hidden courtyard, I had been forever altered by the gentle enigma that enveloped me. On rainy evenings since, a faint echo of those whispers lingers in the wind. The blue flower rests on my windowsill, seemingly ordinary to the casual observer. But in the stillness of night, when the world hushes, it pulses with a soft light, a reminder of promises whispered in the rain, of mysteries veiled just beyond our perception, patiently awaiting discovery by those attuned to the whispers within the storm. Story 19. On a radiant afternoon, as I tended to the verdant embrace of my garden, a serendipitous discovery unraveled before me. A loose floorboard in the humbly weathered shed beckoned my attention, unveiling a clandestine chamber cloaked in shadows and enigmatic artifacts. The air, heavy with the essence of moist earth and ancient timber, cradled a hushed symphony of whispers from relics of a forgotten epoch, coaxing me to unravel the tapestry of a long-buried tale. Filtered sunlight, tinted with nostalgia, danced through the shed's dusty window, painting gentle chiaroscuro on the worn tools and terracotta vessels. Amidst the chore of arranging my gardening essentials, a wayward step upon the peculiar board elicited a resonant echo of intrigue. Kneeling to inspect, the aged wood yielded to my touch, revealing a narrow staircase cascading into obscurity. Eagerly descending into the subterranean unknown, my hand grazed the rough-hewn stone wall, guiding me through a descent into cool shadows. The faint symphony of distant water droplets serenaded my senses as I navigated the shelves, lined with curiosities that transcended time and place. Porcelain dolls, with eyes that seemed to hold forbidden knowledge, adorned in ethereal pastels, leather-bound journals chronicling fragments of a forgotten era in elegantly withered ink, brass instruments, silent yet pregnant with melodies of yesteryears. A peculiar music box, its intricate marquetry mirroring my garden's essence, captivated my gaze. Opening it, a whisper of spring's essence, age-defying and ethereal, caressed my senses, defying logic with its presence. Each discovery within the hidden chamber urged me to question the very foundation of my reality. As I delved deeper, revelations unfurled, challenging my perception of home. The room's expansive dimensions hinted at a clandestine extension beneath my garden, its walls etched with enigmatic constellations foreign to earthly skies. Time slipped away as I immersed myself in the silent narrative of the underground sanctum, the very air pulsating with an enigmatic vitality. In a corner, a trove of aged photographs depicted visitors to my garden across epochs, their expressions mirroring my own sense of awe and introspection. The journals spoke of botanical enigmas, a flora that danced to celestial rhythms beyond mortal comprehension. Light, a guiding hand through the darkness, wove intricate patterns upon the chamber's floor, unveiling a dynamic tapestry of revelation. A singular desk harbored a key of cryptic design, a silent guardian of mysteries unsolved, its purpose veiled in enigma. Emerging from the subterranean sanctuary, time's fluidity revealed itself, the garden basking in the same golden light that had greeted my descent. The shed's floorboard, a silent accomplice in secrecy, sealed the hidden chamber with a whisper of shared knowledge. Contemplating the enigma at dusk, the garden whispered of profound truths, a silent witness to the mysteries that dwelled beneath its surface. The hidden chamber had bestowed upon me a newfound reverence for the world's hidden depths, a gentle revelation that transcended mundane understanding. To this day, I nurture my garden with renewed purpose, attuned to the subtle vibrations of the enigmatic space below. Occasionally, glimpses of otherworldly reflections dance upon the shed's window, hinting at a realm beyond mortal comprehension. The mysteries of the hidden room have woven themselves into the fabric of my existence, a quiet undercurrent guiding me through the ebb and flow of life's enigmas. With a tranquil heart, I guard the secret of the subterranean sanctuary, a sanctuary where time flows languidly and questions linger without the need for answers. The garden thrives with an otherworldly vitality, occasionally gifting me with relics from the depths below, remnants of a timeless dance between memory and reality. In the quiet of my garden, I cherish the silent allure of the hidden chamber, a testament to the boundless wonders waiting to be unveiled beneath the veil of the ordinary. Story 20. In the tranquil evening hush of my unkempt backyard, a sense of mystery beckoned me forth. The vines, entwined along the weathered wooden fence, seemed to murmur in quiet tones as if sharing secrets known only to them. Bathed in the gentle glow of distant streetlights, the leaves exuded a fragrance of fresh earth and enigma. Their silent dialogue left me pondering the hidden messages nature had woven into their very being over untold years. While my nightly garden walks had always brought me solace, this particular evening carried an air of subtle change. The atmosphere held a peculiar stillness, akin to the pause between heartbeats, drawing me closer to the fence where the whispers of leaves took on a melodic quality. The vines, ever present since my arrival, slowly expanded their domain with each passing season, yet it was only now that I truly noticed their presence. The soft crunch of fallen leaves underfoot provided a rhythmic backdrop to the nocturnal symphony of the garden. Crickets sang their evening serenade, while a distant wind chime contributed occasional notes of crystalline clarity to the night air. Intrigued, I found myself drawn towards the fence, my fingers trailing along the aged wood's grain. The texture felt both familiar and foreign, as if the very essence of the fence had shifted under the vine's embrace. And then I saw them, hidden carvings beneath the lush growth, faintly visible in the ambient light, forming intricate patterns that bore no resemblance to any known language. Yet they held a strange familiarity, like echoes from a half-forgotten dream. My fingertips followed the shallow grooves, eliciting a response from the vines, their leaves quivering despite the stillness of the night. As days turned into weeks, a nightly ritual took shape. I visited the fence regularly, documenting the evolving patterns in a leather-bound journal placed by my bedside. Sometimes, I would linger for hours, listening to the whispered confidences of the vines while the moon traced its celestial arc above. The garden transformed into my sanctuary, a realm where time flowed differently, languid as honey on a warm day. With each visit, I observed subtle changes in the carvings. They seemed to shift between my nightly sojourns, evading my gaze in their fluid dance. New symbols emerged while others faded, as if the fence engaged in a silent dialogue with itself. And then, one quiet night as I leaned against the fence, a gentle vibration coursed through the wood. Barely perceptible, it resonated with a rhythm that mirrored the vines swaying. Closing my eyes, I surrendered to the sensation, allowing it to envelop me. The familiar nighttime sounds of the garden faded, replaced by ethereal impressions that transcended words. Memories of sunlight and rain, of seasons in flux, of conversations whispered in gardens long forgotten. I glimpsed other hands tracing similar patterns, other eyes watching the vine's growth. The fence had stood for far longer than I comprehended, absorbing stories like moss absorbs dew at dawn. With the advent of autumn, as days grew shorter and shadows lengthened, my journal filled not only with sketches, but also with what appeared to be translations. Pages once blank at bedtime now bore fragments of a language I could not recall inscribing. These cryptic words spoke of ancient gardens, of wisdom passed through verdant life, of messages woven into the very fabric of leaves and tendrils. A profound shift occurred within me. Dreams became tapestries of vibrant greenery, with patterns that danced and shifted like living script. I realized then that the fence transcended mere boundaries. It stood as an archive, a living chronicle of all that unfolded within its domain. The vines were not mere climbers but scribes, meticulously recording each fleeting moment in their silent vegetal script. To my neighbors I must seem an enigma now, spending hours with my fence and its enigmatic vines. They cannot grasp the solace I derive from these twilight conversations, from the gentle rustle of leaves that seems to grow more coherent with each passing night. Perhaps the fence chose me, patiently awaiting someone willing to listen to its tales. I refrained from clearing the vines or deciphering all the carvings. Some mysteries, I realized, were meant to be felt rather than unraveled. Instead, I nurtured the garden, giving the vines space to flourish and relay their message. Night after night, I sat with my journal, capturing morsels of their whispered wisdom, contributing my own humble chapter to their infinite narrative. The fence endures, its weathered boards concealing myriad secrets beneath their leafy shroud. And should you listen closely on a tranquil evening, you too might catch a glimpse. The soft susurrus of leaves engaged in age-old discourse, the gentle creak of wood cradling memories like water, and the murmured promises of mysteries waiting to unfold. Story 21. On a misty coastal night, I ventured to an abandoned pier that stretched into the murky, undulating waters. Etched into a worn beam were intricate symbols softly aglow under the moon's pallid gaze. The briny sea breeze carried a whisper of enigma, and as I traced the marks with my fingertips, a sense of holding a key to a long-lost secret beneath the waves enveloped me. The gentle lap of waves against weathered pillars wove a hypnotic cadence, beckoning me deeper into contemplation. Stationed there, I discerned how the timber beneath my soles seemed to murmur with each step, bearing echoes of myriad footfalls from bygone years. The air hung heavy with the tang of salt and damp wood, mingled with an essence ancient, reminiscent of forgotten tomes and chambers. Night after night, I found myself drawn back to that pier by an inexplicable tug. Each visit unveiled fresh intricacies in the cryptic markings, arcs that appeared to shift with the moon's glow, lines weaving into diverse patterns with the ebb and flow of tides. The soft creak of wooden planks became a familiar companion, a dialogue between the sea and the structure daring to breach its realm. During my fifth visit, a peculiar observation caught my eye. The air surrounding the marked beam held a noticeable warmth, in stark contrast to the cool maritime breeze. When I pressed my palm against it, the wood pulsed with a gentle heat that seemed to sync with my very heartbeat. The sensation, subtle yet unmistakable, akin to cradling a cup of tea that never grew cold. Often, the fog thickened as I delved into the symbols, enveloping me like a tender shroud. Within its embrace, sounds dulled, distancing themselves, creating an intimate realm where time flowed in a different cadence. At times, I fancied I heard a gentle hum from beneath the pier, harmonizing with the ocean's rhythm. One notably tranquil night, as I sat beside the marked beam, I noticed the water below had stilled unusually, its surface akin to polished obsidian, mirroring the moon with pristine clarity. Yet beneath that mirror-like facade, shadows stirred with graceful intent. They glided too fluidly for fish, too immense for ordinary marine life, yet too indistinct for identification. The markings began to seep into my dreams, morphing into maps of uncharted territories or pulsing beneath my touch like living script. I commenced keeping a journal, sketching the symbols as they manifested each night, noting their subtle shifts with the lunar phases. As weeks elapsed, I discovered that other pier visitors remained oblivious to the markings, their gazes skimming over the beam as if it were mere weathered timber. Even when I attempted to draw attention to them, people merely nodded and veered conversation elsewhere, their eyes sliding off like water off glass. The true revelation arrived with the new moon. Devoid of lunar light, the symbols emitted a faint phosphorescence, casting a gentle blue-green luminescence that rippled akin to underwater currents. The warm pulse within the wood intensified, and the humming beneath the pier grew more distinct, carrying notes that almost resembled words in a language too ancient to recall. Near the marked beam, I discovered small objects appearing, smooth stones etched with spirals, shards of luminous shell glowing from within, strands of silvery seaweed drying into intricate filigree patterns. Each item felt like a message, though their significance remained elusive. Now, as I pen this, I comprehend that I've become intertwined with whatever enigma resides here. The symbols have begun manifesting elsewhere, in the steam on my bathroom mirror, in rain patterns on my windows, in cream swirls within my morning coffee. They no longer appear as mere symbols to decipher, but rather as a conversation I'm gradually deciphering. The pier has transcended mere structure extending into the sea. It stands as a threshold, a divide between known and unknown. The gentle mystery of the markings continues to unfurl, never fully revealing itself, yet offering just enough to lure me back each night to that juncture where the ordinary world meets something profound, ancient, and infinitely more patient than human comprehension. I've learned to cherish that some mysteries are destined to be lived rather than solved. The markings on the pier have taught me to find solace in ambiguity, to embrace the gentle beckoning of the unfamiliar. As I sit here now, observing the fog enveloping and sensing the familiar warmth beneath my touch, I grasp that my role is not to unravel this mystery, but to become a part of its enduring narrative, adding my own chapter to whatever ancient saga unfolds in this liminal realm betwixt land and sea. Story 22. On a moonlit journey homeward, the nearly deserted subway car bore a peculiar weight. Nestled in the distant corner, a lone figure sat in silent contemplation, their gaze fixed upon me as the train rumbled through shadowed tunnels. The air hung heavy with the mingled scents of perspiration and mustiness, while an unsettling feeling of being observed draped over me like a shroud. The gentle rocking of the carriage and the rhythmic clatter of wheels caressing the rails wove a hypnotic melody that typically would have ushered me into slumber. Yet, this night held a different allure. My focus continuously gravitated back to the stranger, whose mere presence seemed to bend reality itself. The flickering fluorescent lights overhead sporadically cast eerie shadows that danced across the scuffed metal walls. Something peculiar caught my eye about my fellow traveler. Their silhouette bore a slight blur, akin to viewing them through a rain-splattered window. With each blink or shift of my gaze, their contours momentarily sharpened before softening once more. It was a subtle effect, one I might have attributed to weary eyes, if not for what unfolded next. The stranger extended their hand in what seemed a greeting, yet the motion left lingering trails in the air, akin to the sparklers painting luminous arcs in the night sky. Each gesture birthed ripples in the space surrounding them, warping the advertisements on the walls behind. A chill descended upon the carriage, prompting goosebumps to prickle along my arms. Time took on a pliable quality, stretching and compressing with each breath. The intervals between stations elongated, the darkness beyond the windows deepening into an endless abyss. The usual ambient sounds of the subway, the rush of air, the mechanical groans, the distant echoes, all faded into a velvety silence, leaving only the steady heartbeat rhythm of wheels on tracks. I found myself scrutinizing their attire, a blend of modernity and antiquity intertwined. A coat that seemed plucked from both yesterday and a bygone era, shoes that shifted styles when I averted my gaze. Their countenance remained ensconced in shadow despite the harsh lighting above, as if darkness gravitated towards them. The stranger commenced a soft hum, its melody more felt than heard, resonating within my chest, a haunting tune evoking memories of childhood lullabies and forgotten reveries. My eyelids grew heavy, yet I resisted their pull, teetering between comfort and disquiet. Subtle metamorphoses began to transpire within the subway car. Advertisements morphed into different images when glimpsed peripherally. Metal poles bent at improbable angles before snapping back to normal upon direct scrutiny. The windows mirrored scenes impossible to exist: verdant gardens, grand libraries, distant constellations. The stranger rose leisurely, their movement fluid as water in weightlessness. Advancing towards me, I observed their feet hovering above the floor. An opalescent shimmer enveloped them, akin to heat waves rising from sun-soaked pavement. Their presence exuded an ageless wisdom and infinite patience, filling the carriage with a profound tranquility. Seating themselves opposite me, a fleeting glimpse of their visage revealed a kind, ancient countenance, both familiar and impossible to commit to memory. Their voice, a whisper carried on the wind through autumn foliage, resonated within me. "You possess keen sight," they intoned, though their lips remained still. Rare is the one awake amidst this twilight hour of realities. Desiring to respond, to voice the myriad queries swirling within, I found myself enveloped in a profound serenity. The train's gentle sway became a cradle, while the nocturnal darkness beyond the windows transformed into a tender embrace. The stranger's presence no longer bore a menacing aura, but rather resembled a reunion with a long-lost companion, whose name lingered just beyond reach. Upon reopening my eyes, solitude greeted me within the subway car. The fluorescent lights hummed with their usual harshness, and the advertisements displayed commonplace wares and services. The air had reverted to its customary temperature, and the subway's familiar sounds resumed their melodic cadence. Yet a subtle change had transpired. A faint iridescence clung to my garments in the window's reflection, akin to dewdrops upon a spider's web. Nestled within my pocket, I discovered a ticket stub of unknown origin, adorned with inscriptions in a script foreign, yet inherently comprehensible. Henceforth, during my late-night subway sojourns, I keenly observe my fellow passengers. At times when the light strikes just so, I glimpse blurred edges and lingering after images. And on rare occasions, I perceive a distant hum resonating not in my ears, but in my very core. A reminder that reality flows far more fluidly than we conceive, particularly within those threshold spaces betwixt here and there, betwixt wakefulness and slumber. Story 23. The Enigmatic Abandoned Mansion. Venturing into a mansion forgotten by time, I encountered a profound silence that seemed to pulse with a life of its own. The grand foyer, adorned with portraits obscured by dust and drapes worn by age, exuded a stillness that resonated with echoes of the past. Every creak of the decaying floorboards and every whisper of the wind through shattered windows whispered tales long kept hidden, beckoning me to listen. As the late afternoon sun filtered through weathered curtains, casting elongated shadows that danced across faded wallpaper. My footsteps tread softly, harmonizing with the gentle descent of dust particles in the air. The aroma of ancient wood and forsaken memories enveloped me with each breath, while distant sounds of branches caressing windows created a subtle rhythm within the tranquility. My curiosity led me to a majestic staircase, its once grand banister now dulled by the passage of time. Ascending with a hand gliding along the smooth wood, I noticed a peculiar phenomenon. The dust beneath my fingertips vanished, revealing pristine sections that gleamed as if freshly polished. Despite the mansion's prevailing chill, the wood radiated warmth under my touch. Upon reaching the second floor, a lengthy hallway flanked by closed doors awaited me. Here, the silence took on a different quality, dense and pregnant, akin to the pause between heartbeats. I observed a subtle shift in temperature as I passed each door. Some areas exuded a gentle warmth, while others cradled pockets of cool air, prompting me to draw my jacket closer. One door stood slightly ajar, offering a glimpse of an antiquated study bathed in the amber hues of sunset. Books adorned the walls from floor to ceiling, their faded spines hinting at the knowledge they harbored. A substantial wooden desk commanded attention at the room's center, its surface coated in a thin layer of dust, save for one spot, a perfect circle that appeared recently disturbed. Approaching the desk, the floorboards sighed beneath my weight. The chair behind it sat askew, as if its occupant had just departed moments before. Within the dust-free circle on the desk, a faint imprint of writing emerged, visible only when caught in the right light. We never truly leave. As the sun descended slowly, elongating shadows across the study floor, subtle changes in the room's ambience became apparent. The air stirred in gentle currents, though no windows stood ajar. Books emitted soft settling sounds, their pages rustling as if caressed by unseen hands. Seating myself in the desk chair, I traced the smooth wood grain of the tabletop with my fingers. The room's temperature had stabilized to a comforting warmth, a stark contrast to the cool dampness elsewhere in the mansion. In that tranquil space, I discerned a language in the ambient sounds, the creaking wood, the distant whispers of wind, the subtle movements of objects, forming a cryptic communication just beyond my grasp. Time flowed fluidly, minutes or hours slipping away unnoticed as I absorbed the ethereal atmosphere. The encroaching darkness beyond the windows bore no menace. Instead, it enveloped the study like a familiar embrace, imbuing the space with intimacy. As night descended fully, a remarkable sight unfolded. The dust-free circle on the desk emitted a faint luminescence, barely perceptible yet undeniably present. The glow pulsed rhythmically, akin to breathing, causing minute fluctuations in the room's temperature with each pulse. The words, "We never truly leave," shimmered in the darkness, a silent mantra. Driven by an inexplicable compulsion, I extended my hand to rest within the glowing circle. A profound serenity washed over me, transforming the mansion's silence into a melodic symphony of subtle sounds that had always been there, awaiting recognition. Each creak and whisper carried narratives of those who had occupied this very space before me, their stories woven into the fabric of the room. Upon rising to depart, I noticed my watch had halted at some indeterminate point during my vigil. The darkness of the house now bore a different essence, more akin to a sentient presence than a mere absence of light. As I retraced my steps through the hallway and descended the stairs, I comprehended that the mansion's silence had never been void. It brimmed with narratives patiently awaiting a listener keen enough to discern their whispers. Often, I contemplate revisiting that enigmatic mansion, to recline once more in the study as night descends. In the quietude of my own abode's stillness, I occasionally catch echoes of that musical silence, a gentle reminder that spaces harbor more than memories. They cradle remnants of all the souls who have traversed them, lingering in the dust and shadows, yearning for acknowledgement of their enduring presence. Story 24. In the hushed solitude of an abandoned wing within the ancient confines of a grand mansion, a forgotten tale awaited its chance to be uncovered. Amidst the layers of time and neglect, a rusted key lay serenely upon a table veiled in cobwebs. Its ornate design whispered of untold secrets from a distant era, beckoning to be unveiled. The air within the chamber was cool and musty, carrying echoes of voices long silenced by the passage of years. A sense of quiet urgency tugged at my senses, urging me to seek out the elusive lock that this enigmatic key was fated to open. Soft light filtered through windows cloaked in dust, casting elongated shadows upon weathered floorboards that murmured softly beneath my cautious steps. Each footfall resonated with gentle creaks that harmonized with a delicate patter of rain commencing its dance outside. The cadence of the falling rain was strangely comforting, as if nature itself orchestrated a lullaby to accompany my expedition. Cradling the key in my hand, I felt the weight of time etched into its surface, the intricate patterns telling a silent tale of craftsmanship and care. Shades of copper and green intertwined, bearing witness to the passage of countless days, yet the key's elegance remained undiminished, a testament to the artistry of its creator, with curves and flourishes that spoke of a tender hand. Tracing my finger along the key's intricate lines, I discerned subtle shapes reminiscent of blooming vines, a motif that seemed to echo faintly in the faded wallpaper adorning the chamber's walls. Beneath layers of dust and age, elegant designs peeked through in fleeting moments of light, mirroring the key's intricate embellishments. As my fingers brushed against the textured wallpaper, a hidden rhythm emerged, guiding me to unearth secrets beyond the visible. A gentle breeze carried whispers of old tales, mingling with the fragrance of aged books and polished wood, accompanied by a lingering sweetness that lingered in the air, a ghostly remnant of perfumes long faded. Venturing further into the dimness, my eyes adjusted to the growing shadows, embracing the tranquility that enveloped the forgotten wing. The rain outside intensified, its steady rhythm weaving a soothing melody against the window panes. The key in my hand radiated warmth, awakening as if attuned to the mysteries awaiting discovery. In the quiet dimness, subtle shifts in the air hinted at hidden truths, as if the mansion itself held its breath, revealing secrets only to those willing to listen. A peculiar section of the wall beckoned, its wallpaper flowing in a unique pattern that drew my gaze towards a concealed portal. With a steady hand, I inserted the key into the waiting lock, feeling a sense of inevitability as it turned effortlessly, unlocking the door with a soft series of clicks that resonated through the corridor like a whispered secret unveiled. Beyond the threshold lay a chamber frozen in time, bathed in the ethereal glow of filtered daylight. Ghostly shapes of draped furniture danced in the muted light, while a grand writing desk stood sentinel, adorned with papers inscribed in elegant, faded script. Yet, it was the array of intricate objects adorning the shelves that captured my imagination. Delicate clockwork mechanisms, enigmatic music boxes, and mysterious instruments, all bearing the same vine-like motif as the key. Amidst the tranquil silence, punctuated only by the gentle rain outside, I realized I had stumbled upon a sanctuary untouched by the hands of time, where the very essence of existence seemed suspended in a realm beyond the ordinary. The air held a sacred stillness, a whisper of something divine, as if the chamber existed in a liminal space between reality and reverie. The secrets of the hidden sanctuary remained shrouded in mystery, the enigmatic papers on the desk guarding their ancient truths. Some riddles are destined to remain unsolved, lingering in the twilight realm between what is known and what is imagined. Years have passed since that fateful discovery, and yet the weight of the key nestled in my pocket still carries a warmth that reminds me of the timeless allure of secrets kept safe within the embrace of mystery. And in those fleeting moments of contemplation, I smile, knowing that some enigmas are best left to dance in the enigmatic embrace of the unknown. Story 25. On a somber afternoon, I stumbled upon an unmarked envelope nestled within my stack of mail. As I unfolded the aged yellowed paper, the handwritten words within ignited a cascade of unfamiliar memories within me. The room was filled with a subtle fragrance of antiquated ink and lavender, prompting me to question the very essence of my own past. The delicate paper crinkled softly under my touch, its edges worn with the passage of time. Raindrops tapped gently against the window, creating a melodic cadence that synchronized with the rhythmic pulsing of my heart. The warm glow of the reading lamp enveloped the letter in an amber aura, causing the elegant script to dance before my eyes. My dearest friend, the letter began, I write to jog your memory of the summer house where we once shared cherished days. Strangely, I had no recollection of such a place, yet as I delved into the words, I could almost feel the sun's warmth on my skin and hear the distant murmur of waves caressing ashore. The crackling fire by my side provided a comforting backdrop as I continued to read. Each sentence seemed to unlock a trove of memories, both alien and intimately known. I could almost taste the salty air, feel the smoothness of wooden floorboards beneath my feet, and hear the gentle rustle of cotton curtains in a breeze. The letter painted vivid images of afternoon teas in delicate blue-flowered china cups, of hushed conversations in a garden where roses bloomed perpetually, and of a mysterious locked room on the third floor. With every description, the memories grew more tangible, more immersive, though I was certain I had never lived through those moments. My cat nestled in my lap, purring softly, grounding me in the present as I turned to the second page, allowing my mind to wander through these phantom recollections. The graceful handwriting narrated events that now felt as real as the chair I sat upon, strolling through misty gardens at dawn, witnessing shadows waltz in candlelit rooms, hearing piano melodies from unseen hands. The creaking of my home's wooden floors seemed to echo the sounds described in the letter, the very same nocturnal sighs of the summer house's ancient boards. The scent of lavender intensified, permeating the room, carrying memories that seemed to belong to a different soul. Or did they? The writer detailed shared secrets, unspoken understandings, and pledges exchanged in whispers. They spoke of a locket I was said to have always worn, containing a photograph of two young women before a stately mansion. Though my hand found bare skin at my neck, I could sense the phantom weight of that locket, as if it had been a part of me for eternity. Outside, the rain whispered elusive secrets, blending with the letter's account of rainy days in the library of the summer house, where book titles shifted surreptitiously. I tried to remember the scent of those leather-bound tomes, a scent that felt familiar, yet foreign, impossible to grasp. As I approached the final page, the ink seemed to fade, as if the words themselves were transmuting into memories. The writer recounted a pivotal choice we had made together, a decision that would reshape reality itself. They detailed a midnight ritual in the garden under a moon casting shadows askew. The letter's closure served as both an end and a commencement. Remember, dear friend, that memories are more fluid than we perceive. Our understanding of ourselves is but a tale we've chosen to believe. Perhaps this missive will guide you toward a different narrative, or perhaps it will rekindle the one you opted to erase. It bore an initial signature that eluded my gaze, its form shifting with each attempt to decipher it. Folding the paper along its creases, I glimpsed a reflection in the window's glass. For an instant, in the gentle lamplight, a face stared back at me, familiar yet unknown, as if a mirror to my very soul. The rain subsided, the scent of lavender waned. I carefully returned the letter to its envelope, aware that my memories, whether genuine or illusionary, chosen or gifted, would forever be altered. Drifting into slumber in my favorite armchair that night, The distant melodies of waves and piano music lingered in my mind, accompanied by the phantom sensation of a non-existent locket resting against my skin. Story 26. Deep within the recesses of my home, as I sifted through forgotten relics, an antique desk beckoned me with a locked drawer. With a gentle persuasion, the drawer yielded to my efforts, revealing a folded note nestled within. The paper, aged and delicate, bore the elegant script of a bygone era, hinting at secrets veiled within the house's history. A faint aroma of cedar and antiquated ink wafted from the note, coaxing me to delve into its enigmatic message. As I unfurled the fragile parchment, a soft susurrus of time whispered through the hushed room. Evening light filtered through lace curtains, painting ethereal patterns on the desk's weathered surface. An atmosphere thick with anticipation cloaked me, yet its embrace was tranquil, akin to the serene calm preceding a gentle rain. The note commenced with a date long past, its flowing script addressing a dearest friend and confessing burdens of the heart. Each word drew me deeper into a narrative woven with intrigue. The author recounted peculiar occurrences within those very walls, phantom footsteps echoing in empty corridors, objects subtly shifting in solitude, and the mysterious appearance of fresh blooms in a solitary vase under the full moon's glow. Enthralled, I sank into my seat, enraptured by the unfolding tale. Secrets of a concealed chamber permeated the note, a room shrouded in secrecy within walls privy to countless confidences. Within lay not riches of gold or gem, but treasures more profound, memories frozen in time. The pendulum of my grandfather clock marked the passage of moments as I immersed myself in the writer's account of discovering a hidden journal, chronicling the lives of the house's original inhabitants. These chronicles transcended the ordinary, recounting shared dreams across generations and conversations whispered beyond time's confines. Night descended beyond my window panes, and I ignited an old brass lamp, casting a warm luminescence upon the pages. Intriguing symbols etched into door frames, once deemed as mere ornamentation, were revealed in the note as a map to the clandestine chamber. My fingertips traced the edges of the parchment as I absorbed the writer's quest to decipher these enigmatic markings. The shifting phases of the moon held sway over the prominence of these symbols, unveiling a cryptic pattern that eluded complete interpretation. The rustle of wind through trees outside provided a gentle cadence to my reading, casting dancing shadows within the chamber. The writer's conviction of the house's sentient memory unfurled, not as a harbinger of fear, but as a custodian of tales untold. The note culminated in an extraordinary revelation, dreams melding into memories of the house's past, featuring a spectral woman in a cerulean gown, her silent smiles pregnant with unspoken truths. A cryptic directive lingered in the final lines. When midnight's bells tolled 13, and moonlight graced the 7th step, revelation awaited those who listened with their hearts. Holding my breath, attuned to every subtle sound in the dwelling, the floorboards whisper, the wind's murmur, time's subtle passage, I pondered the enigma laid before me. The note, unadorned with a signature, left me adrift in a sea of queries. As I gingerly folded the parchment, a faint sketch on its edge caught my gaze, a familiar geometric design that teased recognition just beyond reach. Glancing up, I discerned the dimming of the room, save for the amber glow of the lamp. The house now bore a different aura, not of unease, but of intimate acquaintance with the myriad narratives enshrined within its walls. Returning the note to its resting place, unlocked, a premonition whispered of a grander enigma, unfurling gradually like the dawn's gentle bloom. As darkness enveloped the chamber, thoughts wandered to the possibility of dreams intertwined with the woman in blue, and the enigmatic revelations she might unveil in the nocturnal hours. The grandfather clock's rhythmic ticking persisted, and a distant church bell tolled, its chimes a distant echo in the silence. Amidst the stillness, I fancied the soft rustle of fabric, akin to the whisper of a blue dress traversing an empty room. Story 27. On a leisurely stroll through a historic neighborhood, I stumbled upon an ancient iron gate adorned with intricate carvings. Despite the markings being faded by the passage of time, the intricate patterns and symbols seemed to narrate a story of love and loss. The gate emitted a rusty scent that mingled with the crisp breeze, and as my fingertips trailed along the weathered metal, I sensed a narrative waiting to be unveiled, a tale embedded in every crevice and curve. The evening air carried the soft murmur of autumn leaves, and the gentle golden light filtered through the canopy above. Standing before the gate, I observed how the remaining sunlight played upon the deeper carvings, casting shadows that danced and shifted as if alive. The metal felt cool under my touch, its texture marked by years of exposure to the elements. There was an inexplicable allure to the patterns. They were not mere decorations, but formed intricate letters in a graceful script I struggled to decipher, intertwined with flowing motifs of vines and blossoms. As my fingertip traced the elegant curves, a peculiar warmth spread through my hand, contrasting the gate's chilly exterior. The sensation, subtle yet undeniable, akin to the touch of a sun-warmed stone. Beyond the gate, a winding garden path vanished into the twilight shadows, framed by majestic trees forming a natural canopy above. Their branches swayed gently in the evening breeze, carrying the earthy fragrance of fallen leaves, mingled with a hint of old roses or lavender, though no blooms were in sight. Every attempt to step away was thwarted by a new detail catching my eye. A particular spiral in the metalwork led to another, then another, creating an endless loop that always circled back to a central point, a heart-shaped motif almost faded beyond recognition by time. Within its weathered lines, faint initials and a possible date were barely discernible. As darkness descended, the atmosphere shifted, and the engravings seemed to transform before my eyes. What once resembled vines now appeared as cryptic inscriptions in an unfamiliar script. Lost in the hypnotic patterns, I swayed slightly, the tap of my umbrella against the gate jolting me from my trance. The sound resonated strangely, akin to a bell tolling underwater. In that moment, I felt, rather than heard, a response emanating from the garden beyond. A whisper carried by the wind through the trees, or perhaps something more elusive. The engravings narrated fragments of a story, a pair locked in embrace here, a flourishing garden there, and further along, the same garden shrouded in winter, its barren branches yearning towards an unseen sky. These scenes flowed seamlessly, connected by sweeping lines that might have been time itself, or perhaps memories intertwined with longing. Time seemed to ebb uniquely in this place. The streetlights flickered to life unnoticed, casting a warm glow that accentuated the metal's weathered patina. Each beam of light unveiled new intricacies, a hidden bird here, a fallen leaf there, all contributing to the larger tale slowly unraveling before me. It spoke of two lovers who once nurtured the garden beyond, their identities lost to the ages, but their story immortalized in rust and iron. Together they had cultivated beauty that flourished and evolved through seasons of change, enduring winters and blossoming into something timeless. As I stood amidst the flowing currents of time, I realized the gate was more than mere entrance or barrier. It stood as a testament, a love letter cast in iron to withstand the test of centuries. The worn heart at its core symbolized not decay but resilience. Even as the details wore thin, the essence endured, touching the hearts of all who paused to ponder, to marvel, to feel. A distant church bell tolled, merging with the gentle whisper of the evening breeze. I cast one final glance at the gate, knowing I would return, understanding that it would never reveal itself in the same light twice. As I turned to depart, my fingers brushed against the heart-shaped motif one last time. In that fleeting instant, a tender warmth pulsed through the metal, akin to a heartbeat preserved in iron, steadfast through the passage of time. The The story of the gate lingered within me as I made my way home through the enfolding dusk. I comprehended that some tales were not meant to be fully deciphered, but felt, a resonance in the realm between knowing and questioning, seeing and believing. The faded engravings had shared what they wished, safeguarding their profound mysteries within their iron embrace. Story 28. Drawn by an unexplainable urge to wander, I found myself stepping into an aged theater on the edge of town. Once magnificent, it now stood in silent decay. The grand balconies and velvet seats murmured tales of a bygone era filled with applause and drama. As I ventured onto the creaking stage, a faint, haunting voice filled the air, speaking lines tinged with sorrow and yearning. Its echoes bounced off the weathered walls, mingling with the musty aroma of aged curtains and forgotten aspirations, casting doubt on the emptiness of the theater. A gentle autumn breeze whispered through unseen crevices, orchestrating a soft symphony of rustling papers and distant murmurs. My footsteps, muffled by the wooden stage, released gentle sighs with each step. The air carried a peculiar thickness, as if I were walking through layers of memories frozen in time. Overhead, the grand chandelier hung motionless, its crystals coated in dust, but occasionally catching glimpses of light that filtered through the high windows, painting delicate patterns on the walls. Intrigued, I gravitated towards the wing of the stage, where old props lay shrouded in sheets resembling gentle waves under the dim light. The elusive voice seemed to emanate from this direction, though now reduced to a mere whisper. Amidst the forgotten set pieces, I stumbled upon an ancient dressing room mirror, its surface clouded with age yet retaining an otherworldly gleam. As I neared, the temperature dropped, though not uncomfortably so. The mirror seemed to pulsate with an inexplicable energy. In its reflection, I caught glimpses of movements that mirrored mine not, like shadows of performers from a distant past, honing their craft. The voice, now clearer, seemed to belong to a woman reciting lines from a somber romance. Her melodic words were both soothing and melancholic. Time appeared to warp within this space, stretching minutes into hours as I delved deeper. Old playbills crumbled at my touch, and costume pieces retained faint traces of perfume. The voice guided me through the forgotten nooks of the theater. In the orchestra pit, scattered sheet music lay atop ancient stands, the notes faded yet visible, as if awaiting musicians to breathe life into them once more. As evening approached, the shifting light through the windows cast elongated shadows that seemed to move with intent across the seats. The voice gained strength, never rising above a gentle murmur. Seated in one of the better preserved velvet chairs, I watched as dust motes danced in the waning sunlight. The theater seemed to pulsate around me, its walls expanding and contracting with the weight of countless narratives. In this serene moment, I realized that the voice wasn't directed at anyone in particular. It was the theater itself, reminiscing. Each word carried fragments of performances past, of applause and tearful goodbyes, of debuts and final acts. The voice wove these memories into a delicate tapestry of nostalgia that enveloped me entirely. As night fell, a new dimension emerged within the darkness. The voice seemed to permeate from everywhere and nowhere simultaneously, filling the space with a warm resonance that made the air hum with gentle energy. Though the words grew clearer, their meaning remained just beyond reach, akin to recalling a dream upon awakening. Above, the chandelier captured moonlight, casting subtle rainbow reflections that danced across the ceiling like aurora borealis. Drifting between consciousness and slumber, the voice served as a soothing lullaby. The line between reality and dream blurred, and in twilight awareness, I glimpsed phantom spectators suggested by moonlight and shadow, sitting in reverent silence, captivated by the voice as I was. As night deepened, a profound peace settled in. The voice gradually faded, leaving a sense of gratitude in its wake, as if my presence had acknowledged and validated the stories held within the theater's walls. The theater settled, creaking and sighing like an old friend preparing for slumber. When I finally stood to depart, the voice had become a mere memory, a faint echo in my mind. Yet the theater felt changed, more vibrant despite its abandonment. Walking towards the exit, the aged floorboards protested softly with each step. I realized that some places never truly emptied. They simply waited, cradling their stories until a willing listener arrived. Even now, months later, I find myself drawn back to that theater in the twilight hours. The voice persists, sometimes a whisper, a gentle reminder that behind every curtain and layer of dust lie stories yearning to be heard by those willing to listen. The theater remains a sanctuary where past and present merge, where memories dance like dust motes in the moonlight, forever preserved in the soft echoes of that mysterious voice. Story 29. On a solitary night at an abandoned fairground, my steps led me to a vintage carousel, its majestic horses suspended in a timeless pose. A soft hum resonated in the quiet air around the carousel, beckoning me to immerse myself in its enchanting history. The atmosphere carried a wistful blend of sawdust and faded sweets, a subtle call from days gone by. The night enveloped me like velvet as I approached the carousel, the dewy grass hushing my footfalls. Moonbeams filtered through wispy clouds, casting delicate shadows that waltzed across the aged poles and weathered wooden creatures. Each horse bore a watchful gaze, as if safeguarding ancient mysteries, their painted eyes holding tales of countless riders who once reveled in their allure. One horse in particular captivated me, a pale mare adorned with traces of gilded paint lingering in its mane. Unlike the rest, its head was slightly turned, as if acknowledging my presence. The brass pole securing it shimmered with an inexplicable warmth amidst the cool night air. Standing before it, a faint melody, akin to a music box lulling in a dream, caressed my ears. My hand extended, compelled to touch the mare's weathered surface. The wood felt oddly warm beneath my fingertips, radiating a heat that defied the autumn chill. A gentle vibration pulsed through my palm, akin to a heartbeat. It coursed up my arm, spreading a tranquil warmth through my being. The world around me began to shift subtly, akin to the gradual transition from dusk to twilight. The air grew heavy with the scents of spun sugar and caramel apples, though the fairground remained deserted. Somewhere in the distance, a faint whisper of calliope music teased my senses, as if carried by a ghostly breeze. Connected to the carousel horse, memories not my own began to surface, rising like gentle ripples in a serene pond. I glimpsed children in attire from eras long past, their faces radiant with laughter as they rode these very steeds. I felt the joy of countless summer nights, the warmth of myriad small hands clutching these same reins. Yet beneath these recollections, a deeper memory pulsed, resonating beneath the surface. The carousel was more than a mere ride. It was a custodian of moments, a guardian of time. Each revolution had captured more than just the mirth of its passengers. It had absorbed their dreams, their desires, their silent wishes whispered under the summer stars while spinning in the night. The pale mare seemed to confide its secrets to me, one gentle pulse at a time. I learned that some riders returned as grown-ups, bringing their own children. Others came alone in their twilight years, seeking to reclaim a fragment of unadulterated joy from their youth. The carousel retained them all, embraced them all within its wooden heart. As these visions flowed through me, subtle changes manifested in my surroundings. The peeling paint on the carousel began to shift and swirl, unveiling glimpses of its former grandeur. The tarnished poles took on a faint luminosity, and the air grew laden with the weight of accrued time. I realized then that I was not merely reliving memories, I was being beckoned to become a part of them. The carousel extended an invitation for me to weave my tale into its age-old tapestry. Time seemed to ebb and flow differently now. The moonlight possessed an opalescent gleam, and I lost track of how long I stood there, my hand resting on the pale mare's neck. The boundary between past and present blurred, akin to tissue paper in a gentle rain. Then a sight caught my eye, sending a shiver of awe down my spine. Reflected in the carousel's central mirror, I beheld not only my own visage, but echoes of others who had stood in this very spot. Their forms were translucent, like watercolor paintings left to fade in sunlight, yet their expressions were distinct, serene, curious, ensnared in the same enchantment that held me captive. I comprehended the carousel's offering then. It wasn't solely memories it amassed, but instants of perfect tranquility, of connections bridging past and present. Each individual who had paused here, touched by this mystical allure, became entwined in its eternal waltz. As the night deepened around me, I made a choice. I gingerly mounted the pale mare, settling into the saddle that cradled countless souls before me. No music played, no machinery whirred, yet I sensed the gentle turn of time revolving around me, akin to a celestial carousel of stars. In that moment of pure stillness, I became a fragment of something greater than myself, a narrative sans beginning or end, solely the eternal loop of the carousel's dance through time. The night embraced me in its tender embrace as I perched there, adding my own quiet instant to the carousel's treasury of memories. To this day, I occasionally ponder if others sense it too, that subtle beckoning as they pass by ancient carousels by night. Perhaps they too catch the whispered tales, carried on the zephyr of time, recounting stories of all the souls who paused here, ensnared in the gentle enchantment of the wooden horses and their timeless tango with memory. Story 30. As I sifted through the forgotten treasures of my attic, my fingers brushed against a weathered album hidden amongst the dust and shadows. Within its pages, nestled like a whisper from the past, I found a faded photograph that seemed to hold a story untold. The image, captured in a bygone era, shimmered with a hint of movement, as if the figures within were on the cusp of revealing their long-held secrets. A delicate fragrance, reminiscent of old roses and yellowed parchment, wafted through the air, weaving a spell of nostalgia around me. The late afternoon sun filtered through the attic window, casting a warm, golden light that danced upon the worn wooden floorboards. Settling into a creaking rocking chair, I felt the ancient wood sway beneath me, lulling me into a tranquil state. Tracing the frayed edges of the photograph with my fingertips, I immersed myself in its textured history. The scene depicted a garden party of elegance and grace, frozen in time like a forgotten dream. Women draped in flowing gowns and men adorned in tailored suits mingled with frozen smiles that hinted at hidden tales. Amidst the backdrop of a stately Victorian house, one figure stood out from the rest. A woman in a pristine white dress, her gaze fixed upon the camera with an enigmatic expression. Struggling to decipher the secrets held within her eyes, a chill crept into the attic, accompanied by the sweet scent of roses that intensified with each passing moment. Closing my eyes, I surrendered to the stillness of the attic, allowing its quiet embrace to envelop me. Upon reopening them, a subtle shift in the photograph caught my attention. The once static sunset now pulsed with a soft, radiant glow, casting the woman in white in a new light. Her delicate hand extended towards an unseen horizon, beckoning me to join her in the realm of forgotten memories. Entranced by the evolving tableau before me, the boundaries between past and present began to blur. The muffled creaks of the rocking chair melded with distant strains of music, evoking a sense of nostalgia that transcended time. The scent of roses mingled with the aroma of Earl Grey tea and freshly baked pastries, creating a sensory tapestry that enveloped me in its embrace. As the figures in the photograph gained depth and definition, the woman in white emerged as a focal point of intrigue. A pendant around her neck caught the light in a mesmerizing dance, captivating my gaze with its ethereal gleam. The attic grew cooler, prompting me to pull my sweater tighter around my shoulders as shadows lengthened and time lost its grip. Details once overlooked now revealed themselves. A teacup poised on a garden table, a butterfly suspended in mid-flight, each element pulsating with a life of its own. Lost in the hypnotic spell of the photograph, I felt a connection stir within me, a whisper of familiarity that transcended generations. As evening descended upon the attic, the glow of the photograph dimmed, but the woman in white remained steadfast, her outstretched hand now pointing towards a hidden door in the distant house. Curiosity tugged at my senses, urging me to unravel the mysteries that lay beyond the threshold of the unknown. The distant strains of a waltz grew clearer, mingling with the soft rustle of leaves in a phantom breeze. The garden party guests swayed in a spectral dance, their movements ethereal and timeless. The woman in white, her features mirroring those of my grandmother in her youth, watched me with a knowing smile that spoke of shared secrets. As night settled outside the attic window, the photograph faded back into its static state, the music fading into silence. Only the lingering scent of roses remained, mingling with the familiar mustiness of forgotten years. Placing the photograph back in its album, I descended the attic stairs with a sense of reverence, the weight of my grandmother's pendant a comforting presence against my chest. In the quiet of the evening, echoes of a distant waltz whispered through the air, carrying with them the mysteries of time and memory. Some questions, I realized, are meant to remain unanswered, existing as gentle enigmas that drift between the realms of reality and imagination. The woman in white had shared her secret with me, a silent revelation that transcended the confines of the photograph. And in that fleeting moment of connection, I understood that some stories are meant to be cherished as fleeting glimpses into the tapestry of existence, fading back into the soft embrace of twilight memory. Story 31. As I roamed the grounds of a deserted estate, my steps led me to a hidden greenhouse engulfed by unruly ivy. Amidst the chaos of unchecked vines and scattered wildflowers, a peculiar radiance emanated from a cluster of enigmatic plants. The air inside was heavy with the fragrance of moist earth and exotic blooms, creating a sanctuary that whispered of secrets waiting to be unveiled. I treaded cautiously, the crunch of fallen leaves beneath my feet softened by the thick carpet that had gathered over time. The glass ceiling, obscured by neglect, filtered the moonlight into a hazy glow that bathed the greenhouse in a surreal luminescence. Yet it wasn't the moonlight that captivated me. No, it was a gentle, pulsating light akin to a slumbering heartbeat that drew me further into the depths of this forgotten oasis. The more I ventured, the more I noticed a subtle dance among the wild plants, as if they were aware of my presence. Delicate tendrils swayed in the still air, leaves turned to follow my movements, and a soft rustling of foliage created a symphony of whispers that enveloped me in a tranquil melody. With each step, my tension dissolved into the harmonious rhythm of the greenhouse. At the heart of the sanctuary stood an ornate iron fountain, its once flowing waters now dried up. Within its basin, a collection of radiant flora unlike any I had seen before glowed with a soft, ethereal light of blue-green hues, their petals translucent and seemingly detached from any earthly stems. Drawing nearer, I could sense a gentle warmth emanating from them, a stark contrast to the cool evening air that surrounded me. Lost in time, I observed these otherworldly blooms, their pulsing light intensifying as I approached, though I hesitated to reach out and touch them. Instead, I settled on a weathered stone bench nearby, captivated by the mesmerizing glow that enveloped me. The humidity embraced me like a comforting embrace, while the sweet scent of the mysterious flowers filled my lungs with each breath. My notebook lay open on my lap, and I began to sketch the enchanting scene before me, attempting to capture the essence of the unearthly blooms, though their true beauty eluded my pen. As I immersed myself in my art, subtle shifts unfolded in the greenhouse. The surrounding plants seemed to lean towards the luminous flowers, drawn to their light in a silent, reverent dance. An electric energy filled the air, causing a pleasant tingling sensation on my skin, as if the very atmosphere was alive with a hidden power. The patterns in the pulsing light hinted at a mysterious language, a code of nature that teased my understanding. Shapes materialized within the glow, like fleeting memories or echoes of dreams, blurring the boundaries between reality and fantasy. Time became a mere whisper in the presence of the glowing plants, their rhythmic pulse a soothing lullaby that transcended the ticking of any clock. I swayed gently, my breath synchronizing with their ethereal dance, losing myself in the timeless embrace of the greenhouse. As night deepened, luminous specks ascended from the flowers, spiraling lazily towards the glass ceiling in celestial waltz, leaving behind a trail of warmth that lingered in the air. In that moment, I realized I had chanced upon a rare and precious realm, where the veil between worlds had grown thin. The abandoned greenhouse had transformed into a sanctuary for something ancient and wondrous, existing in the liminal spaces between reality and dreams. When I finally rose to depart, my limbs stiff from hours of reverie, the glowing plants dimmed, as if bidding me farewell. As I retraced my steps through the greenhouse, I noticed faint glimmers of light had spread to the ordinary plants, tiny beacons of luminescence adorning their leaves like celestial dew. I left without marking the location in my notebook, but the sketches of those mystical flowers remained, a testament to the magic I had encountered. On nights when sleep lingers on the edge of my consciousness, I catch glimpses of that ethereal blue-green glow at the periphery of my vision. In those fleeting moments, I wonder if the greenhouse calls to me once more, or if a fragment of its enchantment has followed me home, patiently awaiting the perfect moment to unfurl its magic once more. Story 32. In the early hours of a misty morning within an ancient forest, a grand oak tree with sprawling, gnarled branches crossed my path. Etched into its trunk was a symbol unknown to me, shimmering faintly in the gentle light of dawn, a silent message from ages past. The air carried the refreshing scents of pine and dew, beckoning me to heed the whispers of this wise tree. Beneath my feet, the forest floor welcomed me with a soft bed of fallen leaves, generations deep. Each step released a symphony of earthy fragrances, ancient and comforting. The mist enveloped me, weaving a tranquil cocoon of solitude as I ventured further into the woods. Dew-kissed spiderwebs sparkled with droplets, adorning the branches like delicate crystal necklaces. Tracing my fingers over the carved symbol, a warmth spread from the bark into my hand, defying the chill of the morning. The texture around the marking felt unusually smooth, as though touched by countless others before me. With the growing light, I noticed similar symbols adorning other trees, each unique, forming a subtle path through the wilderness. Deeper into the woods I wandered, and the forest transformed around me. Trees stood closer, branches entwining to create natural archways overhead. Softly glowing mushrooms dotted the shadows, their light pulsing faintly, casting an enchanting spell. The air filled with the sweet fragrance of night-blooming flowers, a lingering presence in the breaking dawn. Time seemed to slip away as I followed the trail of symbols, the mist maintaining its dreamlike veil over the surroundings. Distant chimes echoed through the woods, like crystal bells chiming in a breeze unseen. Each sound pulled me further into this mystical morning, where surprises awaited at every turn. Along the path, I discovered curious items, an ornate silver thimble, a pocket watch with reversed hands, a well-preserved leather journal. These objects, though intentionally placed, seemed to shift in appearance for each passing traveler. Guided by the symbols, I arrived at a clearing where ancient oaks formed a perfect circle. In the center, a weathered stone pedestal bore the same mysterious markings I had been following. As I gazed, the symbols seemed to dance and transform with the shifting light, telling tales unknown to me. A gentle breeze carried distant melodies, ethereal and haunting, weaving through the trees like whispers of silver. I found myself humming along, drawn to a tune that felt strangely familiar yet foreign. On the pedestal rested a bronzed mirror, clouded with age, reflecting not my image but glimpses of other worlds, other journeys, other lives. Images flickered in the mirror, fleeting and elusive, revealing snippets of forgotten stories and lost memories. I sensed the forest's ancient wisdom, its tales woven into the fabric of time. The misty morning spoke in riddles, the symbols its cryptic language, inviting me to unravel its secrets. As the mirror warmed under my touch, I understood that this forest held more than meets the eye. It was a keeper of mysteries, a sentinel of memories beyond the realm of ordinary time. The symbols whispered of untold truths, the mist veiling ancient knowledge waiting to be discovered. In the heart of the forest, I found not what I sought but something far greater. The beauty of unanswered questions, the depth of uncharted paths. The symbols lingered in my dreams, shifting and swirling like the reflections in the mirror, a reminder of the enigmatic wonders that dwell in the unknown. Turning to leave, I realized the trail of symbols had vanished, lost in the thickening mist. Yet I felt no fear, for the forest had shared its secrets, and it was time to carry its mysteries back into the world of the mundane. On quiet mornings, when dew glistens on spider webs and mist weaves through the trees, I catch a faint echo of that distant melody, drawing me back to the forgotten oak and its silent guidance. In the spaces between what we know and what we wonder, the most profound mysteries reside, waiting to be explored in the hush of a misty morning. Story 33. In the hush of a tranquil afternoon saunter through an abandoned courtyard, a rich, exotic scent captivated my senses, mingling with the air heavy with neglect. The fragrance, a tantalizing fusion of rare spices and weathered stone, floated on unseen currents, carrying a silent message that beckoned me closer. Step by step, I felt a magnetic pull towards the origin of this mysterious perfume, an urge to unravel the enigma veiled within. The courtyard, a secluded haven forgotten by time, was embraced by ancient walls veiled in ivy of ages past. Soft autumn zephyrs rustled fallen leaves over time-worn flagstones, composing whispered melodies that danced in harmony with the alluring aroma. The fading light of late afternoon filtered through a canopy of boughs above, casting intricate shadows that waltzed lazily across the ground. Delving further into the sanctuary, subtle shifts in the atmosphere caught my attention. The spicy fragrance grew more potent near a corner where an aged wooden door stood, its surface etched with intricate designs faded by the passage of years. The scent stirred distant memories, ephemeral recollections of childhood winters or dreams fading upon waking. A peculiar stone bench nestled against the wall caught my eye, its weathered surface smooth and invitingly warm to the touch, despite bearing the marks of rain and wind over countless seasons. Seating myself upon it, the fragrance pulsed gently, akin to a distant heartbeat, its inexplicable comfort enveloping me. From my vantage point, new details emerged, previously unnoticed. Small symbols carved into the bases of columns bore ancient meanings lost to time, seeming to shift subtly with changing perspectives, a mere illusion cast by the shifting light. The ivy adorning the walls quivered sporadically, even in the absence of a breeze. Time itself seemed to ebb and flow within that realm. Shadows stretched at an unusual pace, blurring the distinction between minutes and hours, as the spicy scent led me through an invisible waltz, unveiling new undertones with each passing wave, whispers of cinnamon, hints of cardamom, echoes of something ancient and profound. One twilight, an elderly gardener materialized while I sat there, tending to foliage in a distant corner. When I inquired about the scent, she smiled knowingly, offering no elucidation. Her cryptic reply lingered in the air. Some places remember things we've forgotten, before she vanished beyond a hedge, leaving me to ponder her existence. The mystery deepened as peculiar objects began appearing on the bench during my visits, A tarnished brass key without a matching lock, a withered flower of unknown origin, a scrap of paper inscribed with elegant script in an unfamiliar tongue. Each item vanished by my next return, replaced by equally confounding artifacts. Weeks faded into months, and the courtyard drew me back almost daily. The fragrance became a constant companion, evolving subtly with each encounter while retaining its essential essence. Shadows flickered in my peripheral vision at times, insubstantial whispers of presence that evanesced upon direct scrutiny. On a particularly serene evening, as the sun's last rays bathed the walls in amber hues, a fragrant wisp of smoke spiraled from between two flagstones near the bench. It coiled in intricate patterns, almost forming letters before dissipating into the encroaching darkness. The smoke carried the same spicy perfume, intensified and more immediate. Reaching out to touch the ephemeral smoke, expecting it to disperse at my touch, I instead felt a gentle warmth tingling through my fingers. In that fleeting moment, a connection to something ancient and vast stirred within me. Images of bygone generations flashing through my mind, each experiencing their own iteration of the enigma enfolding me. Winter's chill heralded a shift in the scent, growing elusive and ethereal, altering the courtyard's ambience yet leaving the mystery intact. The fragrance now materialized only at specific junctures, dawn, dusk, and those fleeting instants when time itself seemed to pause. To this day, I return to the courtyard, the spicy aroma a familiar companion whose origins remain shrouded in mystery. Moments of clarity tease me, only to unravel into new layers of enigma, deepening the allure instead of unraveling it. Perhaps some mysteries are meant to be savored, experienced, cradled as precious secrets rather than deciphered. The gardener's enigmatic words linger in my thoughts. Some places remember things we've forgotten. In the tranquility of those moments spent on the ancient bench, inhaling the enigmatic perfume, I ponder whether the place itself reminisces, or if it is the memories seeking a listener to share their tale. Story 34. As I sifted through a forgotten box of art supplies in a cozy local thrift store, my fingers brushed against a worn sketchbook, its cover tattered and its pages filled with intricate blueprints of a structure unknown to me. The musty scent of graphite and aged paper wafted up, enveloping me in a sense of nostalgia. Each detailed line on those yellowed pages seemed to whisper of a hidden purpose, a mysterious design that blurred the boundary between art and enigma. Night after night, I found myself drawn to my dimly lit study, where the soft glow of my desk lamp danced gently upon the weathered pages, casting delicate shadows. The pitter-patter of rain against my window provided a soothing soundtrack as I traced my fingertips over the enigmatic drawings. The more I studied them, the more I unearthed peculiar details that defied conventional architectural norms. Curved corridors folded back on themselves in impossible ways. Staircases led to rooms existing beyond the building's dimensions, and windows captured light from inexplicable angles. Yet, every line was meticulously drawn with precise measurements, accompanied by annotations resembling elegant calligraphy. The marginal notes, written in faded ink, hinted at threshold spaces and liminal architecture, concepts that tugged at the edges of my consciousness, leading me into contemplative realms. On quiet evenings, I began sketching my own interpretations of the designs, diving into the depths of their underlying philosophy. The soft scratch of my pencil against paper became a form of meditation, blurring the boundaries between reality and imagination. Lost in the intricate geometries, I felt as though the original architect's spirit guided my hand, unveiling secrets hidden within the lines. With each delve into the blueprints, my perception of space shifted subtly. Shadows gained depth, corners curved imperceptibly, and the familiar sounds of my home whispered a language akin to that of the mysterious drawings. One serene night, bathed in moonlight, I stumbled upon a series of hidden numbers within the borders of the pages. forming a mesmerizing pattern reminiscent of musical notation or a cryptic code. Transcribing the numbers became a mesmerizing task, accompanied by the rhythmic ticking of my wall clock. The resulting sequence held a strange allure, akin to a mathematical sonnet woven in architectural language. Weeks passed, and the structure from the blueprints seeped into my dreams, inviting me to wander through its impossible corridors, where floors shifted beneath my feet in a dance of surreal beauty. The central chamber, adorned with symbols blending astronomical charts and musical scales, beckoned me in those dreamscapes, promising harmonies that resonated with liminal spaces. I sketched and resketched the chamber, each rendition a reflection of its elusive nature, refusing to be contained within a single form. Late nights in my study, surrounded by sketches and blueprints, I noticed how the shadows of tree branches outside aligned perfectly with the angles in the mysterious designs. In those moments, I pondered whether I was uncovering a realm existing just beyond our grasp, a kind of architecture nestled in the tranquil spaces between thoughts. The identity of the original architect remained a mystery, their essence lingering in every meticulously drawn line and thoughtfully penned note. I came to view the blueprints not as plans for a physical edifice, but as a map of the ethereal spaces existing on the fringes of our reality, the dreamlike sanctuaries glimpsed in moments of profound stillness. Now, as I pen this account bathed in lamplight, the weight of the sketchbook on my desk anchors me in a realm of untold secrets. The rain continues its gentle cadence against my window, and the shadows in the room pulse softly with each distant flicker of lightning. Embracing the enigma, I find solace in the knowledge that some mysteries are meant to remain unsolved, akin to a half-remembered dream that leaves a lingering sense of tranquility upon waking. Story 35. In my wandering through the forgotten corridors of an abandoned library, I stumbled upon a hidden alcove veiled in a gentle mist, a sanctuary of relics and faded photographs. The air was thick with the scent of old paper and cedar wood, as if the very essence of time had settled here, undisturbed. Among the relics, a portrait caught my eye, partially veiled yet beckoning with a silent allure, inviting me to unravel a memory obscured by neglect. The portrait revealed a woman in Victorian attire, her features softened by age and moisture, but her eyes remained piercingly clear, seeming to follow my every movement as I traversed the alcove. The whispers of the ancient floorboards beneath my feet mingled with the dance of dust motes in the pale light filtering through aged windows, creating a symphony of forgotten tales. Drawn to a weathered desk near the portrait, marked by rings from long-vanished teacups, I ran my fingers along its smooth surface and discovered a leather-bound journal nestled in one of its drawers. Opening it released a fragrant blend of lavender and ink, and as I read the faded, elegant handwriting within, a subtle shift in the room's atmosphere enveloped me. The temperature seemed to drop, and the quality of light transformed, casting a soft golden hue reminiscent of afternoon sun draped in honeyed warmth. The journal belonged to Elizabeth Blackwood, the guardian of the library, and chronicled her encounters with the mysterious and the unexplained within its walls. Elizabeth's words spoke of books that wandered in the night, of whispered conversations in vacant rooms, and most intriguingly, of a collection of volumes that held memories rather than mere words. These books, she noted, possessed the power to reveal glimpses of the past, unveiling hidden truths under the right light. As I delved deeper into Elizabeth's narrative, the air stirred with purpose, dust motes swirling in intricate patterns like ethereal dancers. Soft echoes of turning pages resonated from distant corners, a ghostly reminder of the library's living history. A gentle breeze carried the distant strains of piano music, a melody so faint it hovered between reality and imagination, weaving a tapestry of familiarity in the unfamiliar. The portrait of Elizabeth seemed to shift before my eyes, growing clearer as if time itself momentarily rewound its relentless march. Elizabeth's journal unveiled the library's secret, the convergence of past and present, where shadows danced independently, revealing specters of eras long past, browsing shelves now bare. Elizabeth's theory unfolded before me like a whispered secret. The library was not merely a haven for books, but a vessel of memories, capturing the echoes of emotions and events within its very walls. The weight of untold stories hung in the air, a silent testament to the layers of history woven into the fabric of the building. With trembling fingers, I turned to the final pages of the journal, where Elizabeth's urgency leapt from the faded ink. Her words spoke of merging with the library's memories, of reflections in windows wearing garments of bygone eras, and of voices echoing words unspoken. The final entry, interrupted mid-sentence, left a haunting echo in the chamber of my thoughts. Closing the journal, I glimpsed my reflection in a nearby window, briefly adorned in attire from another time, with Elizabeth standing at her desk, penning words that mirrored my own reading. The connection lingered, a thread woven between past and present, bridging the gap of centuries with a gentle touch. Returning the journal to its resting place, I caught sight of my altered reflection in the polished surface of the desk, a subtle shift in my features as if the library had already etched my presence into its tapestry of memories. It was not a disquieting notion, but a comforting realization that some places hold on to fragments of all who tread their paths. As I prepared to depart, I cast a final gaze upon Elizabeth's portrait, now bathed in the waning light. Her countenance softened into a knowing smile. I pondered the inevitability that another wanderer may one day unearth traces of my passage, intertwined with the enigmatic aura of the library, just as I had discovered Elizabeth's veiled memory amidst the gentle dust of time. Story 36. In the hazy twilight of a city evening, my steps meandered through the labyrinthine streets when a peculiar rhyme caught my eye, etched onto a weathered brick wall. The verses, worn but melodious, hummed with a haunting tune that seemed to echo through the cool air mingled with the scent of rain-soaked concrete. It was as if the very essence of the city whispered an ancient secret, a tale meant only for those willing to listen. Drawing closer, I traced the words with my fingertips, feeling a subtle pulse beneath my touch. The ink, neither fresh nor entirely faded, existed in a realm between presence and memory, beckoning me into its enigmatic embrace. A gentle breeze swept down the narrow street, carrying with it the soft rustle of fallen leaves and distant echoes of life. As I stood before the wall, a peculiar realization dawned on me. Each line of the rhyme bore a different handwriting style, as if penned by multiple hands over time. Some letters flowed with graceful cursive, while others stood rigid and precise, yet together they wove a mesmerizing tapestry of unity in diversity. The flickering street lamps cast warm, dancing shadows upon the wall as darkness encroached, enveloping the scene in a cloak of mystery. When I tried to illuminate the text with my phone, a strange phenomenon unfolded. The words seemed to shift and rearrange under the artificial light, playing tricks on my eyes. Blinking in disbelief, I endeavored to commit the verses to memory. They spoke of shadows walking beside us, of memories dwelling in the spaces between moments, and of a melody only the walls could hear. Night after night, I found myself drawn back to that wall, the words haunting my dreams and thoughts, seeping into the depths of my consciousness. Others too were drawn to the enigmatic rhyme, their fingers trailing along the ancient bricks in silent contemplation. Some paused, their expressions distant, as if catching whispers of a melody just beyond reach. With the passage of time, similar verses began to appear on other walls scattered across the city, forming a seamless continuum of cryptic messages. The handwriting styles remained consistent, a blend of authors weaving a web of intrigue that spanned the urban landscape. Capturing each new discovery through photographs, I found that the images always emerged slightly blurred, as if the essence of the rhyme resisted being confined to a static image. Delving deeper into the mystery, I noticed subtle shifts in my perception. The city sounds took on a rhythmic quality, the traffic hum transformed into melodic harmonies, and even the rain seemed to tap out messages in an ancient, elusive code. On quiet nights, I stood before the original wall, where the rhyme first beckoned to me. The words hovered in that liminal space between reality and imagination, their meaning ever elusive, yet profoundly resonant. Others would often join me, strangers bound by an unspoken connection, their eyes reflecting the same wonder and curiosity that gripped my soul. The rhyme painted a portrait of a bygone era when cities pulsated with life, memories lingered within walls, and streets hummed with the echoes of countless stories. Whispers of a hidden world, visible only to those who paused to listen, threaded through the verses, weaving a tapestry of urban lore. Some nights, a soft hum seemed to emanate from the very bricks, a gentle lullaby composed of forgotten dreams and whispered secrets. As the seasons shifted, the words adapted to their surroundings, shimmering in the summer heat, flowing with fluidity in autumn rains, and crystallizing in delicate frost during winter. To this day, I return to the wall, the rhyme etched into my memory, a living testament to the collective consciousness of unknown authors. New lines occasionally appear, expanding the family of handwriting styles, evolving the rhyme like a living, breathing entity. Each reader interprets the verses uniquely. Some depart with tranquil smiles, while others carry a lingering, pensive gaze. The allure of the rhyme remains unsolved, a perpetual enigma that beckons us to explore the hidden depths of our urban tapestry. In a world where technology and science unravel countless mysteries, the enduring enigma of the rhyme offers solace in the knowledge that some secrets remain veiled in the shadows, in the whispers of brick and mortar, in the persistent allure of words that defy complete comprehension. As night descends and the city's nocturnal symphony unfolds, I ponder the unknown authors whose hands crafted this poetic labyrinth. Do they still roam the streets, adding new verses to their eternal poem, listening for the hidden melody that binds us all in a shared, silent narrative? Perhaps we've crossed paths, connected by invisible threads of mutual understanding, all players in a story that continues to inscribe itself on the margins of our urban existence. Story 37. On a serene evening, while leisurely strolling by the river's edge, a peculiar sight caught my eye. It wasn't my reflection gazing back at me from the water's surface. No, it was a phantom-like image, silently observing my every move. The soft, soothing whispers of the river, intertwined with the earthy fragrance of damp soil and wild blooms, hinted at hidden truths lurking beneath the tranquil facade of the water. Evening walks along the riverbank had always been my refuge. The way the setting sun cast gentle hues of amber and lavender across the sky, the way the breeze rustled through the tall grass, and the comforting touch of moss underfoot, it was my sanctuary. But that particular evening held a different aura. The air hung heavy with an unusual stillness, as if nature itself held its breath in anticipation. As I gazed intently at the water's surface, the enigmatic reflection remained motionless, unaffected by the ripples disturbing the rest of the river. It bore semblance to a face, yet ethereal and ever-changing, defying my attempts to decipher its features. Amidst the shifting visage, the eyes remained unwavering, profound, wise, and oddly familiar. With a soft crunch of gravel underfoot, I knelt by the water's edge, drawn by an unseen force. A cool mist rose from the river, carrying with it the sweet perfume of water lilies and moss. In the distance, the gentle call of an owl blended with the rhythmic flow of the water, creating a symphony of nature's whispers. Night after night, I found myself drawn back to that spot, lured by a mysterious magnetism I couldn't explain. Each visit unveiled new wonders, a flicker of movement beneath the surface, a faint melody rising from the depths, barely audible above the river's murmurs. The face in the water became a comforting presence, akin to an old confidant harboring untold secrets. Over time, subtle changes began to manifest in my surroundings. The wildflowers bloomed more vividly near my perch, fireflies danced in greater numbers, and an electric energy permeated the air, tingling against my skin. On a particularly tranquil evening, bathed in the moon's silver glow, a remarkable revelation unfolded. As my fingers broke the water's surface, a warm sensation enveloped me, contradicting the cool night air. Ripples of light emanated from my touch, resembling liquid stardust. The face in the water smiled not with its lips, but with its eyes, radiating a warmth that seeped into my very essence. In that moment, comprehension dawned upon me. The river wasn't merely reflecting images, it was offering glimpses of a realm existing between worlds. The visage I beheld wasn't a ghostly apparition, but a portal to a reality intertwined with our own, perceptible only to those who truly sought to see. Now as I sit by the river during twilight hours, I catch echoes of ancient tales whispered within the water's flow. Though the face appears less frequently, its essence lingers in the fluid movements of the river, in the floating leaves, in the interplay of light and shadow. The river has transcended its role as a mere waterway. It has evolved into a custodian of enigmas, revealing its mysteries solely to those patient enough to listen. Until this moment, I have shared this tale with no other soul. Skeptics may dismiss it as a figment of imagination, a trick of light and mind. Yet on hushed evenings when reality melds with dream, I return to the river's embrace. And on rare occasions, I glimpse those knowing eyes in the watery depths, a silent reminder that some mysteries are felt rather than seen. The face in the river imparted a profound wisdom, that certain questions require no answers, and some enigmas are best left unsolved. Now, as I wander along the riverbank, I carry this revelation as a treasured secret, grasping the fluidity of boundaries between the ordinary and the extraordinary. The river, like life itself, remains in constant flux, a testament to the ever-changing, ever-enduring nature of existence. Story 38. In a local museum of historic portraits, amidst the tranquil hush of whispered tales from the past, I found myself inexplicably drawn to a particular painting that seemed to hold a secret. Amongst the Victorian family portrayed in their elegant drawing room, there lurked a faint figure in the background, almost imperceptible, yet undeniably present, a phantom amongst the painted shadows. The gallery exuded a sense of timelessness that afternoon, with only the occasional soft footfalls of a passing guard disrupting the serene stillness. Autumn sunlight streamed through tall windows, casting elongated shadows upon the gleaming hardwood floors, revealing a dance of golden dust motes suspended in the air. The essence of aged wood, oil paint, and the faint metallic hint of gilded frames mingled in the atmosphere, creating an ambiance of mystery and nostalgia. Revisiting the enigmatic portrait repeatedly, I became increasingly fixated on the elusive figure concealed behind the painted curtain. Its form, barely discernible, seemed to defy the artist's original intent, as if a hidden narrative begged to be unveiled. Each moment spent studying the painting unveiled new intricacies. The subtle shift in the figure's posture, the unbroken gazes of the family members, and the enigmatic transformation of the children's expressions. Lost in contemplation, I was startled by a gentle voice behind me. The curator, a silver-haired woman with a knowing gaze, acknowledged my fascination with the painting and shared a tale of its mysterious origins. Commissioned in 1876, the portrait bore the touch of an artist who vanished before its completion, leaving a haunting presence that transcended time and perception. Visitors over the years had reported varied sightings of the hidden figure, a spectral enigma that seemed to interact with those who beheld it. As the curator spoke, a subtle shift in the gallery's illumination cast a momentary shadow over the scene, and I felt a shiver of unease as the hidden figure appeared to draw closer to the painted family. Her parting words lingered, hinting at the painting's affinity for certain viewers and the possibility of evolving revelations with each visit. That night, as I drifted into slumber, the enigma of the painting permeated my dreams, blurring the lines between reality and artistry. The curator's cryptic assertion echoed in my mind, weaving a narrative of intrigue and connection beyond the confines of the physical world. Subsequent visits to the museum revealed subtle alterations in the painting, subtle nuances that hinted at a symbiotic relationship between observer and observed. The enigmatic figure, a spectral guardian of untold secrets, remained a silent sentinel within the frame, casting a spell of timeless allure over those attuned to its mysteries. In the quietude of the gallery, bathed in the ethereal glow of filtered light, I pondered the enigmatic bond between the figure in the background and myself, pondering the enigmatic dance of perception and illusion that transcended mere brushstrokes and canvas. As the portrait continued to beckon with its enigmatic allure, I marveled at the boundless depths hidden within its painted realm, where art and reality intertwined in a delicate dance of shadows and light. Story 39. In a forgotten gallery of ancient family treasures, I stumbled upon a portrait that seemed out of place, a faded image of a stranger whose eyes whispered of a hidden sorrow. Behind the frame, a fragile, yellowed letter waited, its scent of aged parchment and lavender beckoning me to unravel the secrets it held. Time had woven a hushed elegance into the gallery, where sunbeams painted delicate patterns on the floor, and whispers of the past lingered in the aged wooden panels. Each creak of the floorboards beneath my feet murmured of bygone footsteps, of stories untold. With trembling fingers, I extracted the letter, feeling the watchful gaze of the woman in the portrait, a figure from the Victorian era, her expression a blend of sadness and resolve that tugged at my curiosity. The script on the letter, though faded to a soft sepia, danced gracefully across the paper, drawing me into a world long forgotten. As I read, the present faded into the background, replaced by the gentle scratch of a pen echoing through time. My dearest Elizabeth, at the time you uncover this missive, I shall have embarked on a voyage across the sea, a heavy burden weighing on my soul. The quest for our grandmother's legacy compels me. The visions of the old music box, the key she always wore, the tales of the ancient manor by the misty shore haunt my dreams. The melody she hummed lingers in my mind, aligning with the engravings on the missing music box, a clue she left behind. Within the portrait, I leave lies a hidden map, a secret long kept. I dare not divulge its exact location here, but trust your childhood memories to guide you to our hidden alcove in the gallery. Only you, dear Elizabeth, should tread this path, for some secrets are better left unseen. The legacy we inherit transcends material wealth. It resides in the wisdom passed down through generations of women in our family. The moon's reflection on water, the whispers of ancient trees, the dance of candlelight shadows, these hold the key to our truth. Trust your instincts, feel rather than see, and the answers will unveil themselves in dreams, as they did for grandmother and now for me. With unwavering love and hope, Margaret. The letter's words lingered in the air, casting a spell of enchantment over me. The portrait of Margaret held new depths, her secrets echoing through the gallery, intertwining with the shadows that lengthened in the fading light. Details once overlooked now revealed themselves. A pendant that might have held a key, a hint of a music box hidden in the background, her hand poised near her heart as if safeguarding a mystery. The tranquil stillness of the gallery enveloped me like a comforting shroud as I pondered the enigma before me. Should I follow Margaret's trail, seek out the hidden map, and embark on the journey that called to her across the sea? The answer need not come hastily. Some mysteries unfold their truths when the time is ripe. Carefully, I returned the letter to its sanctuary, yet not without transcribing its essence into my notebook. As I readied to depart, a faint melody, gentle and ethereal, drifted through the air, a distant lullaby that stirred memories half forgotten. Whether a creation of my imagination or a whisper from the gallery's depths, I could not discern. The portrait's eyes tracked my movement, not with unease, but with an alluring promise, like a tale yearning to be narrated. I knew I would revisit this place, this enigma, in due time. For now, I allowed the questions to settle within me, like leaves adrift on a tranquil pond, understanding that some mysteries unravel most beautifully in the realm of dreams. Story 40. In the cozy, welcoming atmosphere of my cherished coffee haunt on a rainy morning, a neatly folded note awaited me on the table. The paper, pristine, displayed elegant, unfamiliar script and emitted a subtle blend of lavender and coffee scents. Reading its enigmatic message sent a shiver down my spine. It was not a mere happenstance, but a deliberate clue to a concealed mystery within the mundane. The message, simple yet confounding, instructed me. Seek the woman in the pearl gray coat. She appears every Tuesday precisely at 9:17 a.m. She never makes a purchase. She never engages with anyone, but she always leaves something behind. Intrigued, I found myself drawn back to the cafe every Tuesday, compelled by an inexplicable fascination. The gentle patter of rain on the windows became my constant companion, crafting a tranquil melody for my silent observations. The comforting aroma of freshly ground coffee beans mingled with the warmth of baked treats, enveloping me in a cozy embrace as I awaited her arrival. On the initial Tuesday, I arrived early, selecting a secluded corner table with a clear view of both entrances. The morning crowd flowed in and out, their subdued conversations and the soft clinking of cups creating a serene symphony. My focus shifted between the steady ticking of the antique clock on the wall and each newcomer. Precisely at 9:17, she materialized. The pearl gray coat draped elegantly on her slender form, its fabric seemingly absorbing and reflecting the soft light in equal measure. Her presence was both tangible and ethereal, akin to morning mist bathed in sunlight. Moving with deliberate grace, she consistently chose the same window-side table. While her face remained partially obscured under a broad-brimmed hat, her hands were visible, graceful, weathered, adorned with a solitary silver ring on her right index finger. Week after week, I witnessed her routine unfold with unwavering precision. She sat for exactly 7 minutes, her posture impeccable, hands folded in her lap. True to the note's description, she never placed an order or acknowledged anyone. However, I began to notice the small tokens she left behind: a vintage button, a pressed flower, an ancient compass with a cracked face, but a needle that spun with peculiar vigor. The cafe staff appeared oblivious to these items. Inquiring about the woman prompted a slight glazing of their eyes, swiftly diverting the conversation, as if she existed in a blind spot of their perception. Each object she left exuded a subtle energy, hinting at fragments of a narrative I struggled to piece together. One rainy Tuesday, I arrived to find her seated at my usual table, her gaze turned towards me, and though her features remained indistinct, I sensed her acknowledgement of my presence. Before her rested an old leather-bound journal, its pages yellowed with age. With a faint nod, she indicated the seat opposite her. As I settled in, the ambient cafe sounds faded into a distant murmur. The space between us brimmed with potential, akin to the moment preceding a lightning strike. She spoke, her voice reminiscent of autumn leaves rustling in a gentle breeze. "You've been observing," she stated, not inquiring. "Few notice the patterns nowadays. Even fewer take the time to observe, to ponder, to question the gaps between moments." Flipping open the journal, she revealed pages inscribed with the same elegant script from the initial note. "Time is not as linear as believed," she elaborated, her fingertips tracing the text. "It folds and unfolds like origami, creating pockets where secrets gather. Some of us traverse these folds, gathering what is caught in the creases." The journal featured sketches of objects, those same items she had been leaving behind. Each illustration bore coordinates, dates, and cryptic annotations that appeared to shift and morph when viewed from varied angles. "Why me?" I ventured, my voice barely audible. She smiled, her countenance still veiled. "You possess the patience for patterns, the capacity to dwell in uncertainty without demanding answers. Most importantly, you comprehend that certain enigmas are meant to be experienced rather than unraveled." Rising to her feet, she left the journal on the table. "It is your turn now," she murmured softly. "Watch for those who seek the patterns. Leave them breadcrumbs leading back to wonder." When I glanced up from the journal, she had vanished. The cafe's ambient sounds flooded back like a gentle tide. The rain continued its rhythmic dance against the windows, and the aroma of coffee lingered in the air. The journal remained tangible beneath my touch, its pages now blank where writing once resided. Each Tuesday at 9:17 a.m. I faithfully returned to the cafe. At times I catch glimpses of kindred spirits like me, quietly observing. Occasionally I discreetly leave behind small tokens, a vintage key, a pressed leaf, a smooth piece of sea glass weathered by time. I witness their discovery of these keepsakes, noting the spark of curiosity kindling in their eyes. The woman in the pearl gray coat never reappeared, yet her essence lingers in the silent interludes between heartbeats, in the gentle rain on the windows, in the wisps of steam rising from coffee mugs. I have come to realize that certain mysteries require not solving but witnessing, honoring and passing on, like whispered secrets in the intervals between seconds. Story 41. Amidst a solitary stroll bordering a dense forest, a faint, almost imperceptible howl startled me, its echo weaving through the lofty treetops. The air was heavy with the crisp fragrance of pine and moist earth, enticing me to peer into the dim recesses beyond the light, where mysteries lay shrouded. Sunlight filtered through the leafy canopy above, painting shifting shadows that danced upon the woodland floor. Each step I took into the woods was met with a satisfying crunch of fallen leaves and twigs underfoot. The atmosphere thickened, saturated with the scent of moss and decay, yet strangely invigorating in its earthy essence. An unexplainable force tugged me onward, my curiosity overshadowing any trace of unease. Progressing deeper, the familiar sounds of the outside world gradually dissipated. The rustle of leaves in the gentle breeze intensified, forming a hushed, whispered symphony. Occasionally, fleeting movements caught my peripheral vision, but upon turning to investigate, only swaying branches and shifting shadows greeted me. The howl resurfaced, barely audible, as if a figment of my imagination. This time it bore a different timbre, almost resembling a haunting melody woven into the wind's embrace. The forest fell into a hushed silence, as though holding its breath. Birds ceased their melodic tunes, and even the insects hushed their buzz. Amidst the tranquility, a subtle vibration hummed through the air, a palpable energy that raised the hairs on my arms. A clearing emerged, encircled by trees around a serene pond. The water's surface mirrored the overcast sky like polished obsidian, undisturbed by the slightest ripple. Approaching, I noticed a peculiarity in my reflection. It lagged, as if struggling to keep pace with reality. The air chilled, prompting me to pull my jacket snugly around me. It was then I observed mist materializing, rising from the ground in delicate wisps. Coiling around my ankles, the mist felt cool yet velvety against my skin, emitting a soft, luminous glow that pulsed harmoniously with the forest's rhythm. Standing at the pond's edge, I discerned shapes moving within the mist, elusive forms that dissipated upon direct gaze. Resembling deer but ethereal, their fluid motions defied natural order. The howl echoed anew, closer this time, maintaining its spectral softness. It seemed to emanate from all directions simultaneously, as if the forest itself called out. Swaying gently, I found myself ensnared in a tranquil trance. The boundary between physical reality and the unknown blurred with each passing moment. Trees seemed to lean inward, their branches reaching out like curious spectators towards the clearing. In their gnarled contours, ancient, sagacious faces appeared, observing my every move with patient intrigue. Time slipped away imperceptibly. The light had not shifted, yet an awareness dawned that hours must have elapsed. The mist thickened, transforming the clearing into an isle adrift in a sea of swirling white. The howl resounded once more, but now I comprehended it was no mere howl. It bore semblance to a melodic chant, an ancient tune whispering of enigmas buried deep within the earth, of mysteries predating human presence in these woods. Standing there, suspended betwixt reality and reverie, a presence loomed behind me. The air stirred, carrying scents of wild blossoms and dawn's frost. Every instinct urged me to turn to confront the unseen, yet my body remained motionless. Fear, or perhaps an understanding that some enigmas are best left untouched, rooted me in place. The presence drew nearer, enveloping me in profound tranquility. The forest seemed to exhale around me, its primordial voices murmuring in long-forgotten tongues. In that moment, I grasped that I had chanced upon a rare, invaluable enclave where the veil between the known and unknown grew thin. I never did pivot to face it. Instead, I closed my eyes and let the forest's melody wash over me. When I reopened them, the mist had retreated, leaving the clearing unremarkable once more. Yet, as I retraced my steps through the woods, I carried with me the certainty that I had encountered something extraordinary, a revelation that would forever alter my perception of the world. Even now, on tranquil evenings when the wind whispers through the trees, I sometimes catch that distant, silent howl. It beckons me like a half-remembered dream, reminding me of the existence of realms where mystery and marvel reign supreme, patiently awaiting those willing to heed their enigmatic song. Story 42. In the quiet hush of a centuries-old manor, I stumbled upon a weathered tapestry swaying gently against a rough stone wall. With a delicate touch, I nudged it aside, unveiling a concealed door nestled within the ancient stone. A rush of cool, earthy fragrance mingled with the faint perfume of fading roses enveloped me as I crossed the threshold. The hidden room beckoned, a sanctuary of enigmatic secrets waiting to be unraveled. Soft moonbeams filtered through a slender window, casting ethereal silver designs upon the worn wooden floor. The space was intimate, a mere 15 feet square, lined with shelves stretching from floor to ceiling along 3 walls. Each shelf cradled a collection of peculiar treasures: crystal vials brimming with vibrant elixirs, leather-bound tomes devoid of titles, and intricately carved wooden boxes shrouded in shadowy mystery. The air within this hidden chamber felt weighty, as though time itself had slowed to a languid crawl. A grand old clock stood sentinel in a corner, its pendulum motionless, its hands frozen at the stroke of midnight. The murmur of a gentle breeze seeping through unseen crevices birthed a melodic whisper that harmonized with the rhythm of my own breath. Intrigued, I approached a shimmering bottle that seemed to radiate a faint inner glow. The glass was warm beneath my fingertips, and within its depths, my reflection revealed unfamiliar, kind eyes. Eyes ancient and wise, brimming with untold secrets. As I set the bottle down, the mysterious gaze dissolved like morning mist. Amidst the shadowed shelves, a particular book caught my eye, its spine adorned with silver threads that gleamed in the moonlight. Upon flipping its pages, I discovered blank sheets that yielded to my touch with ghostly indentations, as if invisible words had been gently etched upon the delicate paper. The texture was silken, caressing my fingertips in a dance of whispered secrets. A dusty music box perched upon a small table at the room's heart, its surface marked by a perfect ring, as though a phantom finger had traced circles upon it. When I lifted the lid, instead of music, I heard distant murmurs, speaking in a tongue just beyond my grasp. The voices ebbed away, merging seamlessly with the symphony of my own ruminations. Each object within the chamber held a tale untold, leaving me ensnared in a web of questions without answers. A mirror on the wall reflected a distorted image of the room behind me, showcasing shelves arranged in patterns unseen by mortal eyes. The moonlight wove cryptic shadows in its reflection, occasionally teasing my periphery with elusive movements, though I stood solitary in the chamber's embrace. Time meandered aimlessly within that hidden realm, its passage a fluid enigma. I might have lingered for moments or eternities, for the silent grandfather clock offered no solace in its frozen vigil. The air grew warmer, infused with the essence of ancient parchment and a hint of sweetness, akin to vanilla or perhaps a memory thereof. Nestled in a corner, obscured by a stack of aged journals, rested a small wooden chest devoid of embellishments, its ebony surface absorbing the moon's gentle caress. A subtle vibration thrummed through me as I touched it, akin to a contented cat's purr, accompanied by a warmth that crept up my arm. The chest's lock bore no keyhole, only concentric circles that rippled beneath my touch, aligning in response to a silent cadence unfurling within me. With a soft exhalation, the lid yielded, unveiling a solitary item, a letter scribed in shifting script that defied comprehension. Addressed to the one who finds this room, the letter eluded my attempts to grasp its elusive message, leaving behind an echo of profound connection to a vast, enigmatic force that pulsed with intimate familiarity. As I reverently returned the letter to its resting place, I sensed a shift in the moonlight, heralding the imminent dawn. The chamber, once cloaked in mystery, now exuded a sense of belonging, as if it had embraced my presence and shared a fragment of its enigma with me. Though I knew I should depart, a lingering enchantment held me in its thrall, compelling me to absorb every final detail. The twirling dust motes aglow in the burgeoning light, the cryptic patterns etched within the aged floorboards, the soft sigh of settling shelves in the warming air. With a reluctant step, I retraced my path through the hidden doorway, allowing the tapestry to veil the chamber once more. In my wake, I carried not answers, but a profound reverence for the mysteries cloaked within the shadows of antiquity. Sometimes, in the quiet depths of night, I glimpse the memory of that wooden chest's warmth lingering upon my fingertips, hear the faint echoes of distant whispers at the edge of slumber. And on nights when the moon reigns full and the wind murmurs through vacant corridors, I wonder if that clandestine chamber awaits another seeker, rearranging its secrets like shifting constellations in the mirror, poised to unveil a new enigma to the next wanderer guided by curiosity beyond the tattered tapestry. Story 43. On a serene afternoon within an abandoned art gallery, I found myself immersed in a world of broken frames and scattered canvases. The heavy stillness enveloped me, allowing only the faint echo of soft footsteps to accompany my solitary exploration. The air held the unmistakable scent of damp canvas and aged varnish, each step I took awakening memories of artistic triumphs and hidden sorrows etched into the very walls of this silent sanctuary. Though the gallery had long been deserted, a mysterious force had beckoned me here on this particular day. Dust motes pirouetted in the slivers of light that pierced through the dusty windows, casting ethereal spotlights on the weathered floorboards beneath my feet. My fingertips grazed the textured wallpaper as I wandered, feeling the gentle patterns worn by time. The rhythmic footsteps, always at a slight distance, continued to keep pace with my own, their presence growing more distinct with each passing moment. Initially attributing the sound to the settling of the old building or the echo of my own steps, I soon realized a subtle difference in their cadence, a gracefulness that seemed to belong to another. Passing by numerous empty frames, their former contents long vanished, I couldn't help but feel the weight of the lingering memories that once adorned these walls. As I ventured deeper into the gallery, the air grew cooler, carrying with it a faint aroma of oil paint mingling with the musty ambience. In a secluded room, a lone painting caught my eye, a portrait of a young woman in a white gown, her gaze seemingly following my every move. Unlike the other pieces, this canvas remained remarkably intact, a small brass plate beneath it bearing only a date from a bygone era. The accompanying footsteps paused as I stood before the enigmatic portrait, a hush falling over the room. Then, like a whisper carried on the wind, I heard the delicate rustle of fabric, as though a phantom presence moved silently behind me. A chill ran down my spine as the temperature plummeted, causing goosebumps to prick my skin. Crossing into the main exhibition hall, tall windows obscured by neglect allowed the soft patter of rain outside to mingle with the mysterious footsteps that trailed my every move. Details previously overlooked now caught my eye. Abandoned paintbrushes, a toppled easel, a palette frozen in time with remnants of dried paint. Amidst the layers of dust, a singular spot near the far wall bore signs of recent disturbance, where the footsteps seemed to echo more loudly, their patterns subtly diverging from my own. The rustle of fabric and a hint of lavender perfume filled the air, teasing my senses with their elusive presence. Out of the corner of my vision, fleeting glimpses of movement danced before me, a flicker of white, the outline of a figure just beyond reach. Yet whenever I turned to confront the apparition, all that remained were the shimmering motes of dust caught in the dim light. The rain continued its gentle serenade against the windows, casting shifting shadows across the floor like liquid silver. Drawn towards a door leading to what appeared to be an artist's studio, I beheld a scene frozen in time, an unfinished canvas capturing the essence of the very hall I now traversed, teeming with vibrant life and light. As I studied the incomplete painting, the ethereal footsteps circled around me in a mesmerizing dance. The scent of lavender grew more potent, the air growing colder as a soft hum, barely audible above the rain, filled the space with a haunting melody that tugged at the edges of my memory. The golden light filtering through the windows lent an otherworldly glow to the studio, illuminating the moment of revelation that dawned upon me. With each beat of my heart, the footsteps synchronized, a silent harmony that spoke of a connection beyond the realm of the living. Turning slowly, deliberately, I caught a fleeting glimpse of her. The woman from the portrait, her form translucent as morning mist, a serene smile gracing her features as she extended a hand in silent greeting. The scent of lavender enveloped me, her delicate fingers holding a paintbrush as she gestured towards the unfinished canvas and the main hall beyond. In that profound moment of understanding, I realized that this gallery belonged to her, an eternal artist still at work in the unseen realm. Her footsteps, a testament to her ceaseless dedication, echoed through the silent corridors as she curated her spectral exhibition. Now, on quiet visits to the gallery, I walk in harmonious companionship with my unseen guide, leaving fresh blooms beneath her portrait as a token of reverence. On those days, the footsteps seem to skip a little lighter, the scent of lavender mingling with the fragrance of the flowers in a delicate symphony. In those tranquil interludes, I can almost discern the faint hum of her melody, a reminder of the timeless artistry that transcends the boundaries of mortality. The gallery remains veiled from the public eye, a sanctuary of gentle mysteries meant to be experienced in solitude. Yet, on rainy afternoons, when the light cascades just so through the towering windows, I swear I catch a glimpse of her ethereal brushstrokes shaping the unfinished canvas. Each stroke a testament to her enduring presence in perfect harmony with the echoing footsteps that traverse her eternal domain.